What's up, guys? It's me again. So this is gonna be, week 6 of fantasy football Q&A. So basically, anything you want to talk about, you got injuries, you got trades, you got waiver wire pickups that you need, or just any advice in general. Let me know down in the comments. I'm gonna be reading every single comment today, as well as trying to give y'all the best advice that I possibly can, going solo dolo. But for now, since I don't have any comments, we'll see when they start coming in. I'm going to change this a little bit. I always like having the outer layer. But I'm going to go into my QBs for waiver wire pickups here. So if you're needing a QB and you need them now because you got somebody on bye or somebody got injured or you just don't believe in the quarterback that you have, I would say don't be afraid to go pick up someone like Bo Nix, someone like Drake May. These rookies are doing good this year, guys. So don't be afraid to go get them. The only one that I would kind of be hesitant to get, especially with the teams they're playing this week, is Spencer Rattler, and of course some other guys who are just not doing good at this point in time, especially people like Deshaun Watson. If you have Deshaun Watson on your roster, he should not be on your roster. Trevor Lawrence is not doing too bad. The team has been doing a little bit better. But maybe stay away from guys like Will Levis. I think there's a lot of better options out there than those guys. But for sure, those are going to be my guys this week, 100%. Get those rookies. They shouldn't be there in your dynasty, but if for some odd reason they are, you make sure that you stash one of them. But in other leagues, like these 12-man, 14-man leagues, these rookie quarterbacks might be your godsend here to try to get you some wins instead of some losses. But so yeah, quarterbacks, that's going to be about it for me there. Stay away from Spencer Rattler. Stay away from Will Levis. Stay away from Deshaun Watson. And try to get those rookies. But we'll move on into my running back picks for this week. Of course, here we are. It says Cap for life. He says, "Hey, bro, I just got offered Devontae Smith for Devontae Adams. Do I pull the trigger?" Let's see. I'm going to read his other comments here. He says, "Do I deal Schultz, Achane, and Darnold for Burrow and Madison, or Zay Flowers for my Achane?" I'm going to go with this first one here, just because I think this might be one for maybe the same league or one for a different league. But thank you, Cat for Life, for giving me 3 good comments here, because it's going to boggle my brain here trying to think through this. But Devontae Adams, I mean, still should be dealing with some hamstring issues, but I think he's going to be fine this week to go for the Jets. That guy will freaking tear his hamstring for Aaron Rodgers any day of the week. But I think I'm going to hold on to Devontae Smith here. I think Devontae Adams has the possibility of being good with the Jets, but I also just don't believe in him. Aaron Rodgers is getting better passing the ball to Garrett Wilson. I don't know how this trade is going to disrupt that offense at all. I still think Devontae Adams will get his points, but the way Devontae Smith works, he gets a lot of points. This past week, I believe, I have him on one of my rosters. Let me go ahead and check, see where I got him, because I know for sure he's been doing pretty dang good, in my opinion. But on that league, I also have A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. But yeah, this past week, he only had 3 receptions, which is not the best, but 64 yards and a touchdown. So he is getting those touchdowns sparingly every now and then. And of course, we've seen Devontae Adams when he plays, he's not the best. So I think I'm going to keep Devontae Smith. I think his upside is higher on that pass-heavy offense. Now, the Jets are a pass-heavy offense as well, but I just don't know if I would put Devontae Adams in that tier of, he's a winner for me. Heck yeah. So I think I'm going to stay away from this, but some people might tell you otherwise. I'm not always right. We're mostly right here, but I still think Devontae Adams and Aaron Rodgers are not going to be clicking like everybody thinks they will be. So it's a pairing, but they haven't been together in 4 years. So there's still going to be some growing pains there. He also says, "Do I deal Schultz, Achane, and Darnold for Burrow and Madison?" Schultz, I don't mind giving him up. I think you possibly could do this instead, like what you said. It just depends on how deep you are at wide receiver and running back. I wouldn't mind you dealing Achan, just because we don't even know if he's going to get back to form when Tua gets back. And we don't know if Tua is going to be healthy the rest of the season when he does come back. So I think maybe getting rid of Achan is not the worst move there. But I think getting rid of Zay Flowers could be a little bit safer, especially depending on where you are, uh, kind of considering wide receiver or running back. So let's see who you have more quality in. Do you have more quality in your wide receivers, or do you have more quality in your running backs? That'll determine on which way you should go. So I think I would go Zay Flowers just because I think he's going to be up and down. But Achan is also going to be consistently pretty bad. So we'll see. But Trey also says, bro, TikTok's popping off over there. Well, it's kind of slow here, so I might just hop on over there like instantly because there's not too much traffic here. So we'll see. I'll set up my phone, see if we get any more comments here. But for now, I think I'm going to start setting up for TikTok just to see if we can get some more traction there with AJ killing the game on it. But let's see. While I'm doing that, I'm going to go ahead and go over some of the guys that I have at the running back position that I think are some quality pickups. Of course, I still think Rico Dowdle, if he's out there for you like he is for us in some of these leagues, I think you should go and get him. He's owned in 78% of leagues, so he's most likely not. But of course, guys like Bucky Irving, after he had pretty quality game, in my opinion, 14 for 81, 1 touchdown, 2 excuse me, 2 receptions for 24 yards. I mean, he's getting the workload, he's getting the touches, especially when White is out. I think Bucky Irvin is just the guy who's better than him. But Cat for Life says, I got Tank, Dell, and Smith. My running backs are Jacobs and Dobbins, Titan, McBride. HN is my flex. So yeah, I think this is not too bad. The only thing is that you would be losing a flex in this predicament. So I think that I would possibly deal Zay Flowers. He did have a great game this week, but if you could do Leggett, try Leggett. I mean, maybe the guy won't bite, but Leggett has been doing pretty good these past 2 games. He's gotten a touchdown, I believe, in both weeks, if I'm not mistaken. I don't own him in any league, so let me just verify. But yeah, 2 touchdowns in the past 3 weeks. So he's gotten some quality points against Cincinnati in week 4 and Atlanta in week 6. He kind of disappeared against Chicago, but that entire team did. So in my opinion, try Leggett, see if he bites for it. If not, I think Zay Flowers isn't bad in that situation. But I think just try to see if you can get more than Madison, in my opinion. Madison is not a guy who is possibly going to be starting for you at this point in time, even though he has been doing pretty good. We'll see how long-term that is, but again, I think he's a guy that's pretty much touchdown dependent at this point. But if you're fine with getting like a quality 9 to 12 points from Madison every game, go for it. It is kind of better than HN at this point in time, so wouldn't fault you if you did it. But all right, so I got through those comments. I might join AJ at this point in time, so I'm going to get on TikTok. I'm going to go ahead and mute everything, though, so I don't fry y'all's ears when y'all listen to this. But basically, those are going to be some of the guys that I have on the running back position. Again, if there's guys out there like Tyjae Spears, guys who could be sleepers if somebody gets hurt, the handcuffs is what we call them. Try and get those guys, especially Algier. He had an amazing game this past week. But if not, I mean, Tyrone Tracy's a guy there. As long as Singletary's out, Tyrone Tracy, again, like these rookie running backs are insane at this point in time. All of them should be on rosters. I don't care if it's a 10-man league. These guys are like quality running backs. And I think it's the next draft where running backs are going to be highly used for young guy purposes. But yeah, Tyrone Tracy, Jonathan Brooks, if he's not on a roster in your league, he's owned in 72% of leagues. I think it's time to pick him up. He could have his first game this week, and we've seen what these rookie running backs do. And I mean, Jonathan Brooks is highly sought after coming out of college there from Texas. So he could be a guy who's going to be a bell cow for the Carolina Panthers. And he's also a great catching back. So we'll go ahead and see. But yeah, let me see. I'm gonna set up TikTok here, as it is a little slow here on Facebook and YouTube. So let me go ahead and get this going here. We're still new to everything going into TikTok, but it's just been killing it lately. So if you want to go ahead and go into TikTok, we are going to possibly slide over there for the week. But we got some more people coming in here, so I'll stay as long as you guys are here. But he says, the Smitty, start May or start Stafford. I believe that Stafford is going against, who was it? I cannot remember at this point in time. So let me go ahead and look it up here. I have all my stuff from Power Rankings video. And I believe, can't even find it. Just going to search it up for you, because I don't want to give you false information. Matthew Stafford. He's going to go against Las Vegas here. It's not possibly the best matchup for them to be throwing all that crazily. I think this is going to be determined for me. Yeah, the Raiders right here. Thank you, sir. Thank you. I think it's going to be determined to me if Cooper Kupp comes back. If Kupp is back, I think that Matthew Stafford's going to be feeding him, and we know what Cooper Kupp can do. But if he's not, I mean, Matthew Stafford has not been doing very well. So I'm going to go ahead and check what Dre May is going against. And he's going against Jacksonville. This is probably another good game for him, considering that he did pretty well against Houston. So 21 points against Houston, 243 yards with 3 touchdowns. 2 interceptions is not what you want to see, but I think he can get that down coming into playing Jacksonville. So go ahead and give Drake May the start, in my opinion. Unless Cooper Kupp is back, I don't think Stafford is going to be getting above 15 points. But I definitely do think that Drake May is very likely to, from what we saw from him on week 6. So Drake May is who I'm going to say. See what I did there? But chopped up, thanks for tuning in from Twitch here. Saying, should I bench Jaden Reed, A.J. Brown, Cooper Kupp, or Brian Thomas Jr.? This one's a tough one. Of course, I'm pretty sure these are all the guys that you're starting. So let me know if it's a single flex. I believe it is. If you have 2 wide receiver spots in a single flex, you're kind of seeing who you're going to bench. But if you have a double flex, let me know. So I'm going to rank them from 1st through 4th, just so you know, in case you have a double flex, you start those 4 guys, in my opinion. So I'm going to go A.J. Brown, number 1. Of course, if Cooper Kupp is healthy, he slides in for sure in the wide receiver 2 spot. So I would say go ahead and get on the wide receiver spot for Cooper Kupp if he's healthy. I'm going to go with Jaden Reed 3rd. He had a bad game, but I think he's going to rebound, especially with the matchup that they have. I'm going to make sure I have it correct in my head. But yeah, Houston. So they're going against Houston. They're going to need to pass the ball, in my opinion. It's going to be a good, tough game. So I would say Jaden Reed goes 3rd, and then Brian Thomas Jr. goes last. Even though he has been doing pretty dang well and pretty consistent, in my opinion, since I have him in 2 leagues, I still think that there is some upside in the rest of the guys that Brian Thomas Jr. does not have. So in my opinion, that's going to be my order. Let me know what you think of it. And of course, I see that you're on TikTok here. Come over to Facebook. Give us a hit on that subscribe button, because we are on our way to 1,000 subscribers here. So if you want to help us out, go ahead and hit that sub button. If not, keep watching us on Twitch. We appreciate you tuning in wherever you are at. But let's go to this next comment here. The Smitty says, start 2 running backs from Andre Mason, Javonte Williams, and Raheem Mostert. I haven't heard too much about Mostert. I know that he could be filling in this week if Achane is not ready to go. But this past week, he didn't do too bad. 80 yards. Haven't seen that from him since pretty much last season when he was actually healthy. But 19 carries, that's quite a bit. So in my opinion, that's not bad. Ramondre, I have not been keeping up with him. He is not on any of my teams, but he had a decent week this week as well. This past week, the 19.2 points is pretty insane. But in my opinion, I think I'm going to go here for sure. If Mason is healthy, I think he deserves a spot there. But we'll see how his shoulder's treating him after he got rocked over there in Seattle. But we still lost that game, so I really shouldn't be talking. But I would probably sit Javonte Williams. He's too up and down for me. They're going against New Orleans, and I don't think they're going to be needing to run the ball as much as they should. So, and of course, it is a split backfield there too. So him and Leo McLaughlin should be splitting carries again. Javonte is getting more of the carries, but I think he's still eating into his production, and I really don't like that. He said he didn't get rocked. Sure, buddy. Sure, he got rocked into the ground. But yeah, he says thanks. Go Niners. But yeah, Ramondre. I think I'm gonna go with Ramondre here and Mason. But if Mason isn't good to go, I think I'm going to go with Mostert. I would probably think Mostert is good to go as long as HN is out. But again, it's always situational. If HN is back, then Javonte Williams is my guy that I think is going to get more points. So again, just keep up with your team. Make sure that if they're questionable and they're not going to play, make sure you know that before you let all these games fly by. And then you look back at your roster and you're like, oh, shoot, 2 of my guys didn't play. So that's happened before, and we don't want it to happen to you, Smitty. But yeah, so that's what I think about those running backs there. But yeah, there's a lot of these guys that I haven't been keeping up with because I just don't have them on any of my 5 fantasies. And maybe I should keep up with them. So they've been doing pretty good. But it has been a very busy week for me and for everybody on this channel. So we'll see. But like I said, put some comments down, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you haven't so far. I'm going to go ahead and see how Age is doing on TikTok. But let me know if you have any more comments here. I will stay live here. But if you can't hear my voice, it is because I am on TikTok. I'll stay here on with my voice on just so y'all can see that I am actually talking. But I'm mostly going to be answering questions with AJ here on TikTok. So if you do hear the background there, it is because AJ is speaking on TikTok, and so am I. But before I do that, Johnny_G13 says, trade advice, please. Says offered to pick 2. Okay. So for Tyreek Hill out of DK, Amari, Ayuk, and Addison. Oh gosh. I mean, it's so enticing with Amari Cooper because he's going to the Bills now, if you know that for sure. But I think I'm for sure gonna go DK. I'm biased here. So if anybody else has any other comments, answer these questions as I answer them too. But I know Ayuk is just still up and down, up and down. I traded him away because I just did not want to deal with that. He had a great game against Arizona. Didn't have the best game against us, but everybody else did. Going into Kansas City, it's going to be tough. So, but the rest of the season does look pretty tough for the 49ers as of passing yards for everybody. So it's going to be tough sharing there. In my opinion, I think DK throwing his fits and everything, I think he's going to demand more targets. If not, he's going to be very unhappy. The only thing that sucks about DK is that our O-line stinks. So Geno Smith has no time to throw the ball away. But I think for sure if you're giving away Tyreek Hill, I would go Amari Cooper for sure because it's just so enticing. We'll see what he can do on the Bills. Josh Allen loves to pass the ball. And I think he could really look for this guy, especially since Khalil Shakir did not get all the targets that he wanted. So it could be Amari Cooper coming in, taking all the targets, looking really good. And I think I'm going to go DK Metcalf here. But again, I am biased. I wouldn't mind you going Ayuk either. It's just for me, I don't want you dealing with that heartbreak when I goes and just gets 4 points. And then the next week you bench him, and then he goes and gets 25 points. So I just don't want you to deal with that. It's always mind-boggling. We don't know how he's going to do, especially since he's so up and down. So yeah, Metcalf and Amari Cooper there if you're giving away Tyreek Hill. Marlon, love the picture with the name. He says, should I trade Godwin and Brian Thomas Jr. for Mike Evans, Reed, and dude, yes, do it. If you can get Mike Evans, Reed, and Addison, all three of those guys have so much upside from the week-to-week basis. I know Evans didn't have the best game this week because of Godwin. I mean, Godwin is going insane. But I think that Mike Evans should be back getting his 20 points, getting his 15 points, all that good stuff. So if you're giving away Godwin and Brian Thomas Jr. and you're getting all that in return, I would believe that you have some guys behind those other guys. So let me know your full roster, and I'll make sure to give you some better advice with me knowing the rest of your wide receivers on your bench. Because giving up Godwin and Brian Thomas Jr. is like a 50-point swing. So you want to make sure that the guys that you're getting are also going to give you that production as well. But Chopped Up also says, start Tucker Kraft or Kyle Pitts. This one is hard, but thank you again for coming over to YouTube. Hopefully you did hit that subscribe button if you weren't subscribed already. But Tucker Kraft or Kyle Pitts, I think I'm still going to go Tucker Kraft. I'm just not a believer in Kyle Pitts, so maybe I am being a little bit biased here, but I just don't like what he's been doing. He's been up and down, in my opinion, all year long, especially where you drafted him at. I don't know where you did, but I'm pretty sure it was pretty high in those rounds. He hasn't given you the production that you've wanted. A lot of double-digit weeks, but there are those weeks in there where you're just skeptical if he is going to be that guy or if he's not. So let's go ahead and check on Tucker Kraft here and who they're playing. Arizona Cardinals, last week he had 3.5 points, not what you wanted to see. But they didn't really pass the ball too much. I think against Houston, they're going to be passing the ball a whole lot. So I think Tucker Kraft has more upside here, especially what he's done in the past 3 weeks against tougher matchups in Minnesota. And then, of course, the Rams. Not the best tough matchup there, but he had a game with 2 touchdowns. So I think he'll get back on track with Houston. I'm going to go Tucker Kraft because I don't think Kyle Pitts is going to get all that action against the Seahawks. But again, I could be wrong, but I think I'm more right on this one. Tucker Kraft is my pick. I don't know. JP says, yo, I can ask for your opinion in a trade. Yeah, for sure. Ask me, man. Put it down in the comments. And of course, since you're on Twitch, go ahead and come over to YouTube as well. We're on our way to 1,000 subscribers, and help us get there, man. But thank you for getting on Twitch. We love everybody coming in from wherever you're coming in. But Big Money says, Vince, he's got this. What's up, man? Nice to see you. Tune in to TikTok too. AJ's going crazy over there. I haven't seen him stop talking since we started up this video. But Marlon says, nah, man, I would be giving almost all my wide receivers. My wide receiver core would be Jamar Chase, Mike Evans, Reed, Addison, Juju, Leggett after the trade. Ooh. In my opinion, dude, if you have Jamar Chase paired with Godwin, that's a crazy duo. I would not mess that up, in my opinion. I would keep Godwin. I think Godwin is going to keep this pace up the rest of the season. Hopefully, knocking on wood here, he doesn't get hurt. But yeah, Jamar Chase and Godwin duo is insane. You have to be loving that. I would not give that up. So I change it. But yeah, you said that you had, before the trade, it's Jamar, Godwin, Brian Thomas, Juju, and Leggett. Now, is this I see it's a 10-man PPR, but is this a double flex or is this a single flex? How is this? So you're only playing 3 wide receivers, 4 wide receivers. How are you doing that? So let me know. He says, what do you think after seeing the wide receiver room? Yeah, after seeing that with a single flex, I think I'm going to keep Godwin and Jamar Chase duo because that is just phenomenal. That gives you at least on a week-to-week basis 50 to 60 points easily, especially the way these guys are playing. And then Brian Thomas is pretty consistent, you know. I think that he's getting about, 10 to 12. I have him in a couple leagues. So I think that, oh, shoot, some of these weeks he's getting you 20 points. But on those good weeks, where he's going to stay consistent, he's getting you at least 9 to 15 points. And when he gets a touchdown, I mean, you know how he does it. So 28 points, 21 points. This past week, don't put it past you. He is on the Jaguars. You got to remember that. But I think he's still going to get his. He is a guy that's very young, very good. He's the number 13 wide receiver in the league. I think you should be fine with Jamar Chase, Godwin, and Brian Thomas out there. You should be pretty much winning. But here's the rest of your roster. He says, and at running back, I have Joe Mixon, Jahmyr Gibbs, and Josh Jacobs, Chase Brown. So I'm pretty flexible. Yeah, dude, I would just say ride the wave that you've been given. You drafted well. You went on the waiver wire well. I'm pretty sure you traded well because you got a lot of guys that fall within the same rounds. So I'm pretty sure that you did some crazy trades before, and you've got this lineup. So just ride with it. You're doing great. I'm pretty sure if you were losing in the beginning of the season, you're not losing anymore too often. So keep going. It's pretty early in the season. I think you have one of the best teams that I've seen here in the comments before. You could maybe improve a little bit in the running back room, but even then, just wait for these guys to continue to pop off. I know Joe Mixon just came back, had a great game. Jahmyr Gibbs had a pretty decent game himself. Josh Jacobs, haven't really been keeping up with him over there as a Packer, but let me double check here. He's starting to get a little bit more consistent. They're giving him those touches that he needs. But again, just him not getting so many touchdowns really hurts him. So I'm pretty sure he's the guy that's odd man out there on your flex. But again, I think going later into the season, they're going to continue to establish run. So I think you should be good. But yeah, that lineup is insane, man. Keep doing you. Don't trade away your best guys. Not for what he was trying to give you. But all right, guys, like I said, I'm going to go ahead and try and join AJ here on TikTok. He looks like he's having a blast over there, to be honest. He's talking a lot. But I'm going to go ahead and mute for a little while. If I see some comments, I will come back. If you see my mouth moving, let some people know down in the comments that I am on TikTok as well. But I will be answering questions here in the comment section as I see them coming in. But Marlon also says, I traded Saquon, Ayuk, and Bucky Irvin. Oh, gosh. For Godwin and Ayuk. Thoughts? Let's see, because you said I traded Saquon, Ayuk, and Bucky Irvin for Godwin and Ayuk. So how'd you do that? Maybe there's a typo there. But if you did Saquon and Bucky Irvin and got Godwin and Ayuk, I think that's a pretty good trade, especially since, you traded him a rookie running back and a pretty good running back in Saquon, but he's having a little bit of trouble there, a little bit of crisis in paradise over there in Philly. He says, wait, last question. No problem, man. I'm still going to be on here, so ask your question. I'm still going to be setting up to get on TikTok with AJ, so if you hear some extra voices, it's because I'm also on TikTok, and that's our other co-host, AJ, over there on TikTok, talking away, answering questions left and right. So let's see. He says, but yeah, let me know. I'll be right here still. So I did Saquon and Bucky Irvin and Ayuk for Godwin and Jahmyr Gibbs. Oh, awesome. That's a steal, bro. I don't know how you did that. It's all right because we saw how Bucky Irvin did in those first few weeks as a rookie. And I'm pretty sure you sweet talked him. You said Bucky Irvin's going to be a starter. And I'm pretty sure he is. He's going to be a starter by the middle of the season. And I think that him and Rachaad White should be splitting carries pretty evenly, if not a little bit more to Bucky Irvin with the run game. They said, sorry about the typo. No problem, man. I kind of figured that there was something that if you got Ayuk, you also didn't trade Ayuk for those guys. So pretty cool. But yeah, guys, leave some comments down in the comment section. We'll be getting on TikTok to answer some questions with my boy AJ. So if you hear me talking randomly, he says AJ's getting hammered with questions on TikTok. Yeah, I'm going to go and try to relieve him and help him out just a little bit because I know how it is talking for hours and hours and hours. But yeah, guys, I'm going to go ahead and get on with AJ, see what happens.
Talking forever is kind
of tired. I can already hear him there. But let's see. I'm going to go ahead and request there. Go ahead and join with him. See if I remember how to do it.
Compared to Seattle, right? DK Metcalf, JSN, Tyler Lockett, they're both getting targets across the board, right? 5 here, 6 there, 7 there. Marvin Harrison Jr.
But yeah, like I said, go ahead and leave some comments down if you have anything that you want me to answer. But I'm just trying to remember how to do this stuff, man. It's always hard.
2 guys, I will trade one of those guys for something. But I'd rather keep Marvin Harrison Jr. over Brandon Ayuk at this point. I love Brandon Ayuk.
It turned out to be a little bit rough in there. There we go. So I'm going to go ahead and request it. But of course, I will be answering questions here. And when I do, I'll be pausing here. And I'll still be talking over here whenever I'm answering questions on TikTok. So if you hear me answering a question that's not yours, it's probably because I'm helping AJ out and answering a question on TikTok as well. But we'll see when he lets me in. For now, I'm going to be here. So Marlon, let's see. He says, "Oh, what do you think of Chase Brown and Brian Thomas for dude?" Yeah, if you could do that, that would solidify your flex spot, in my opinion. Marvin Harrison is injured right now, so I'm pretty sure this guy is looking for some instant relief, and he's kind of tired of, Marvin Harrison not getting points every single week. He is also kind of a roller coaster, but I see going into the later part of the season when their schedule gets a little bit easier, I think he's going to be going off. So go ahead and try it. I think it's good for you. But let's see. Yeah, man, those are some good questions. You have some good predicaments to be in, to be honest, because, gosh, it really does benefit you trying to get these guys. But yeah, with Chase Brown doing good, Brian Thomas doing good, I think you getting Marvin Harrison is somebody that's going to be a little bit more consistent. So I know this past week he got injured, concussion. We'll see how long he's out. But before that, he was doing pretty good. 34 in week 2, 17 in week 3, 15 in week 4. And I think he's just going to continue to get better. So, again, San Francisco is a tough game. Of course, it's going to be tough against the San Francisco defense. But against Green Bay, he just pretty much got hurt. So against these easier matchups like the Chargers, the Miami Dolphins, Chicago Bears, maybe not so much. The New York Giants, I think he'll do good. So within these next 4 games, I think he's going to be getting some very good quality points. So go ahead and try and steal him, especially for what you're giving away. I think that's a steal, especially with you also having, who was it? Juju and Leggett. Juju Smith could also be very good in the flex spot until Marvin Harrison gets back, because those targets, man, those yak yards, he's doing great out there. So I think your team is set up for success. But yeah, see if you can trade away some peanuts to try to get the whole walnut, I guess you could say. But pretty good, man. So this was a new one, man. I know you were on Twitch. So he says, IDKJP says, "Yo, can I ask you opinion on a trade?" Yeah, man, for sure. Go ahead and send it down in the comment section, and I'll read it out here, and then I'll give you my advice. So let's see. Right here says, "Yo, should I trade Gibbs, Reed, and Devontae for Kyron and DK? It's an 8-man league, and my team is Lamar, Pacheco, K9, Bijan, Drake, Hill, and Ferguson already." That's crazy, man. I think giving Gibbs and Devontae might be a little much there for me. DK hasn't been doing up to the expectations, but it's just because of the offensive line troubles that the Seahawks are having. So as soon as we can kind of get those figured out, get the ball a little quicker to DK, we saw some touchdowns already this season get called back on him. So his points should be higher, but of course, penalties this year on every single team is just insane. So DK Metcalf has been still doing pretty good, but these past 2 games haven't been the best for him. So I do think he'll get better as the season goes along, as he usually does. But, man, I know Kyron is great. I know Gibbs is not as great as Kyron at this point in time. But Kyron was also nursing some injuries, if I don't remember. But he's still doing great. And he's the only guy there for the LA Rams. That's probably the best part about it. He's been consistently getting touchdowns. I think this isn't bad at all, especially you giving up Reed. This is an 8-man league, so you want to stay as competitive as you can. In my 8-man league that I have with this guy right here, he says, "What's good, Vince? Brandon Rogers." Yeah, I'm in his league. It's an 8-man league, and I have DK myself. So he's in my flex all the time, but I think this is a good trade. I think I would take it in an 8-man league. The only thing I'm worried about is you giving away Gibbs and it being too early, but he is splitting carries over there. So it could benefit you to get a guy for a later game whenever the pass game does come back for the Rams to get a lot more points. Just because what's his face, David Montgomery is stealing so many touchdowns away from Jahmyr Gibbs, and nobody's going to really do that for Kyron Williams. But H-N is bothering me. I don't have nobody else to start besides him. But Bucky Irvin is in the waivers. Should I pick him up? I mean, yeah, if you have somebody to drop to get Bucky Irving, I would. Bucky Irving is going to be good later in the season for sure, just like he is right now. So go ahead and pick him up. I think it's pretty good. Just don't drop HN for him. I still think HN has upside for later games, especially when Tua comes back. It could be not this week, but next week or the week after that when Tua is actually back and ready to play. But we'll go ahead and see. Right now, Miami's on a bye week coming into this next game without Tua once more. But I think they're going to try to get him back as quickly as possible to try to save their season. So I wouldn't mind you getting Bucky Irving as long as you don't drop HN. Brandon also says, on my way to my second job right now, sadly. That's okay, man. Working is good. But I don't know. JP says, I'm 6-0 too, by the way. Me too, man. I have a league. I'm 6-0. I have a couple leagues where I'm 3 and I have one league where I'm 3-3, and then I have 3 leagues that I'm 4-2, I believe. So looking pretty good there as well myself. 5 leagues in total. But yeah, one of them is 6-0, and I'm just super happy with that one. He also says, "You think I should give up K9 instead?" Let's see. Let me look back at it again. I think if you can do K9, yeah, I think I would do that. As much as I am a Seahawks fan, Kenneth Walker is probably going to sputter out, and he is probably going to be riddled with injuries, to be honest, later on in the season. He has some great games. He is the number 11 running back, and he's higher than Gibbs right now, but I just don't know. I don't know with him. He is pretty touchdown dependent on those games that he does good. So he just doesn't have so many yards. So I think he's not going to be the best in the long run. I think I would do K9 instead of Gibbs. Try to keep Gibbs. I think his upside is so much better. But Brandon Rogers thinks, he says, you think I can go far with David Montgomery and Saquon Barkley? I do. I think David Montgomery is playing phenomenally. He is a touchdown guy, of course, but I won't say he's touchdown dependent because he's just getting touchdowns all the time. They use him in the red zone. He breaks off big runs every other game. But, I mean, every game that he's played is above 15 points. So I think he's one of the best running backs. He's the number 10 running back at this point. He's not dealing with really any injury issues. Gonna knock on wood there because I have him as well. And then Saquon Barkley is Saquon Barkley. You know, he's not getting everything that we want him to at this point. Had a rough game against Cleveland. But I think going forward, he's going to return back to what he was doing in week 1 to 3 as this Eagles offense tries to get back to who they are. So go ahead and keep those guys. I think you're going to do great with them as long as they're healthy. And the best part about it is that both of their bye weeks are done and over with. So now you got them healthy, and they're great to go for every single week. No need to take any of them out. Brandon says, I'm 5-0 on a free ESPN league for fun, LOL. But it's week 6, Brandon. How are you still 5-0? Are you not 5-1, or are you 6-0 now? But Trey Baker says AJ is struggling I know. I muted him a little bit, but it's hard when so many comments are coming at you like that. So I I agree. But Brandon says, do they still do fantasy bye weeks? Um, I've never had a fantasy bye week, so I know players have bye weeks, and you have to pivot and try to put in guys to replace them for their bye weeks. But I've never heard of fantasy having a bye week. But IDKJP says, thanks, bro. I appreciate the help. Of course, man. We're here all the time, every Tuesday. If you also want to get on TikTok, it'll probably be a little bit harder for your agent to read your comment. I'm in charge of the YouTube because I get to take my time here. But AJ's rapid fire, rapid fire, rapid fire. I don't know if you can hear him on the phone there, but rapid fire comments all the time. But yeah, go ahead and follow us everywhere, man. It's going to be the same thing, NSP Football Talk on all of our platforms, except for Instagram. We don't have one of those. We have Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, of course, and then we're originally from, Twitch. But Brandon Rogers also says, why is AJ struggling? He's on TikTok right now, man. He's going live TikTok, and he's got about 72 people live with him, all throwing comments at him. So he's trying to keep up with all those comments. So it's pretty hard. But he says, I remember in 2012 on Yahoo, they had them. Wow, that's crazy. I don't know how that works, but pretty cool. I've never had one myself. But Trey Baker also says he is doing TikTok and it's going crazy with the comments. Yeah, man, I have him live here. If you guys want to see, it's a little bit blurry, but it's just going a mile a freaking second over there. So he's going pretty fast. Let's see. It says Chopped Up says, can you rate my team 1 through 10? I'm pretty sure you're putting in the comments, so I will stick around here and see what it is. I'm pretty down. I love rating teams. I've gotten a little bit more stingy with how I rate teams, especially during the season. Before the season starts, when you actually draft them, like before week 1, it's easy to say, oh, this team is good based on what they did last year. But of course, this year is always different. So now that we have a fresh perspective, it's always good to try to see how your team actually stacks up after 6 weeks. But Brandon says, are you ready for my Cowboys and Texans vlog when I go? Yeah, man, I am. I love watching vlogs. They're fun to just see what happens, you know? I like to see everybody else's kind of viewpoint of what they're doing and stuff like that. So it's always pretty fun. But Trey Becker also says, I'm down. I want to see it. Yeah, it should be good. And Brandon's vlogs are actually really good. I don't know what I was expecting the first time I watched it, but when I watched it, I was like, I like those transitions. I like the way he does his content. I like his energy in the videos. So if you guys haven't already, go ahead and go to Brandon's page. Brandon, if you want to link it down here in the comment, go for it. His stuff is pretty good too. I like it. It's not all football. Some of it is just funny, like cringe stuff, and it's pretty entertaining. So go ahead and give him a follow as well. Let's see. Chopped Up says starters are Lamar Jackson, Devon Achane, Kenneth Walker the third, Brown. Okay, so that's a pretty good running back crew. I wouldn't say it's the best there, but Achane and Walker is probably holding it down for you, and then Brown as well right now. But yeah, Achane has been not doing what we want him to do, especially with Tua out. But let's get over here to the wide receivers. So you got Cup and you got Pitts. Oh, interesting. Oh, I think Brown is your wide receiver. My bad. So yeah, you got Brown and Cooper Cup. AJ Brown, Cooper Cup, and you got Kyle Pitts and Jordan Reed as your flex. So interesting there. I like the Brown and Cup duo, especially when Cup comes back. He's going to be very efficient. It's going to get you, again, those 15 to 20 plus points that you need. But let's see your bench here. Kyle Pitts, I'm on the fence, but he's getting you double-digit points every other week, so it's not too bad. But the bench here, this is what I was worried about. After these guys, you have Addison. You have Darnold as your secondary quarterback. You have Rico Dowdle, who's not doing bad himself, just on a bad team. He's not the best running back, but Jay Ferguson, good secondary guy in the tight end position. Tucker Kraft, ooh, great tertiary guy there. All those guys can probably start on random teams. And then Brian Thomas Jr. So good backup wide receiver there in Addison and Brian Thomas Jr. I think Brian Thomas Jr. is a more consistent one there, in my opinion. What I would do for you is I don't really see too much after those guys for running back. If anything, for your flex spot, instead of having Reed there, I think you should try to go after a great running back. Give away Brian Thomas Jr., give away a great tight end in either Ferguson or Kraft, as they are doing good at this point in time, and try to get yourself a really good running back. Somebody like maybe who can I say? Tony Pollard does well here and there, but I think you should go a little bit higher than that. Let me go ahead and pull up all the running backs as I'm blanking out here, so I can tell you who exactly to get. I don't think you'd be able to get like Alvin Kamara or Saquon Barkley, not Derrick Henry or Jahmyr Gibbs or anything like that. But try to go after guys like Joe Mixon. Try to go after guys like maybe James Conner, who's very consistent. Maybe even somebody, I don't know if this will work, but try to get David Montgomery. He's been so consistent. But just try to always get better. You could probably even sell a low or buy low on DeAndre Swift. I mean, I did. And now DeAndre Swift is averaging 24 points a game the past 3 weeks. So try to get some guys like that for pennies. Try to give away a good wide receiver in Brian Thomas, in my opinion. If you even have to throw Addison in there, I wouldn't be mad at it. But try to get those guys with a tight end and a wide receiver. See if they bite. If you have to throw in a backup, always throw in Dowdle. But don't not try it because you never know if you'll get it or not. But Chopped Up says, didn't expect it to look like that. You're good. You're good. But Randon says, I appreciate that, Vince. I'll try and link it. Next vlog, though, will be the Cowboys and Texans game on Monday Night Football. Yeah, man, it's going to be great. It says, I might do more fantasy football review videos. Pretty cool. But there you go, guys. It's at Brandon Rogers Official. That's his name on YouTube. Go ahead and give him a follow, too. Stuff is funny. But, bruh, I love that picture on YouTube there. It says, would you trade J.K. Dobbins and Scary Terry for Mixon with a choice of Downs or Pittman? In my opinion, I haven't really been keeping up with Scary Terry because I don't have him in any leagues. But I'm pretty sure he's been doing pretty dang good. So let me double check. Yeah, he's doing pretty consistently, getting double-digit points. Lowest is 14, highest is 23. I don't know if I would give Downs or Pittman away because of this fact that when Anthony Richardson comes back, they're going to keep playing him, and he's not the best at getting Downs and Pittman the ball. So unless Anthony Richardson goes down with another season-ending injury and Joe Flacco is their starter, I don't trust Downs or Pittman on a week-to-week basis. I'd rather have Dobbins and Terry than Mixon and a wide receiver you can't depend on. Now, Dobbins, I know you're trying to get somebody better since Dobbins is a decent running back, but not the best running back because he's on the Chargers. But I think you still ride with him. He's doing pretty good. Just against Pittsburgh and Kansas City, that's going to always be a tough game to run against because they're most likely going to pass the ball more. But going against these next matchups, Arizona, New Orleans, Cleveland, Tennessee, Cincinnati, all those next 5 games, I do think J.K. Dobbins is going to feast. Hold on to him. I think you'll be happy with the progress and the amount of points he's going to get you in these next 5 weeks. Big Mac Brad. What's up, man? I don't know if this is your first time. I can't remember if I've seen that name before. Seems a little familiar, but if this is your first time here, hit the subscribe button. We answer every single comment, and we get to yours as quickly as we can. But Big Mac Brad says, can I drop Justin Fields for Tua? I wouldn't. Who's your other quarterback if you have another quarterback? Justin Fields right now, I think he's the number 7 quarterback. Let me search that out just to make sure that I have that correct. Let's see. Actually, he's the number 6 quarterback. But They did bench him. I think it's a mistake. I think Justin Fields will come back to be the starter eventually. But if you need help now, I don't think Tua is the guy to do it. Tua didn't have the best of games when he was actually playing. It always is going to be elevated because of Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. But when he was healthy in that first game, he only had 18 points. And it was against Jacksonville. He had a bunch of yards, but not a lot of touchdowns, passing at least. So I still think Justin Fields is the better guy to keep here. Again, we don't think that we'll see Tua until week 8 at the earliest. So I know that they're going into Indy this weekend, but Tua's not going to play. So it would be weird if you have him there and then Justin Fields plays the second half of this next game, and then you're out Justin Fields because somebody else picked him up. So now you have to wait for Tua again for another week, maybe another week, and maybe another week after that. So in my opinion, I'm going to keep Justin Fields. I'm a Justin Fields truther here. I really like him. I think this is his new start, and I hate that the Steelers did that to him after he's been playing pretty decently. I won't say like pro level yet, but he's getting a lot more comfortable to get to that point. Chris Bird, what's up, man? I don't know if this is your first time either. I think I've seen that name before. So if this is your first time, hit the sub button for us. If not, welcome back, my man. He says he needs 2 flex positions here. He says Cortland Sutton, Juju, Jordan Mason, and Ty Chandler. Well, for me, Ty Chandler's out. I don't think he's going to be getting a lot of carries going into this next game. Jordan Mason, if he's healthy, yes. But of course, you have to keep tabs. Is he practicing? Is he going to make it to this next game against Kansas City, who is also going to be very tough to run against? And I don't know if the 49ers are going to be relying on their run as much as they would like. But Cortland Sutton and Juju are most likely going to be my guys there. Cortland Sutton has been doing great. And I think the way that they're going to play again in this next game, let me make sure that I have the game correctly. Yes, against the New Orleans Saints, I think he's going to get his, man, just like he did the past 3 out of 4 weeks that he's played. So he's getting the receptions. He's getting the targets. He's getting the yards. So hopefully he gets a touchdown and boost you up a little bit more. But Cortland Sutton is a guy who's going to consistently be getting you, around that 10 to 15 range. So I like that. Same thing with Juju, those yak yards, man. It's going to be a little bit tougher going against the 49ers here. That's why I said if Mason is healthy, I might consider putting him over Juju. But I think Juju has a lot more opportunities to get some points here. Because if they're going to be locking up Kelsey, if they're going to be locking up other guys on the Chiefs, I think Juju, again, will have some pretty good consistency here with the Chiefs in his second stint with them. So those are my picks. Cortland Sutton and Juju, Jordan Mason, possibly, if he's healthy. But bruh also says, what about Dobbins and London for CMC and Mason? Oh, man. Are you a 49ers fan? Is that what this is? Let me know down in the comments. But I wouldn't mind doing that. I think you're just giving up too much with Drake London. I think he's actually doing pretty well this season compared to last season. So I don't know if I'm going to give him up. And then we've seen Mason go on that up and down trend as well. So I know he's also had some times when he's not getting the points that you want. He's off and on. These past 2 games, he hasn't gotten the points that you want, This past game, he got hurt against Seattle. So in my opinion, I'm still keeping Dobbins and London for now. Again, we don't even know if CMC is going to be able to play a majority of games going into the end of the season there. So that's where I'm skeptical. I do have that duo in 1 league, though. I'm taking the chance in 1 out of my 5 leagues. But again, I don't know if it's going to be a home run. I don't know if it's going to be a bust. Jordan Mason to have outright is awesome because he's that safety blanket. He's the number 8 running back right now. And CMC, just don't know. Just don't know, man. Don't know how he's going to come back. Don't know how long he's going to be back when he does. But I think I'm going to hold on to Dobbins in London. See, though, if you can try to get something a lot lower just for Mason. But, yeah, I don't think it's a bad trade, but I think I would stay away from it personally. Andrew Burwell says, "Yo, do I drop Singletary for David Njoku or Taysom Hill? I have Ferguson on bye. My running backs are Kyron, Cook, Kareem Hunt, Tracy, Singletary. My wide receivers are Monra, Reed, Higgins, and Tyreek." Let's see. In my opinion, here, I don't think that's a bad idea. I don't know if Singletary has enough oomph, for guys like that. But also, what's your record, man? I see it's a 12-man league here, but what's your record? Can you this week maybe go without a tight end? I mean, I know for sure that Ferguson is getting you some decent points, so I don't know if you could possibly win this week against your next opponent, because I think this past week Ferguson didn't do the best. 4 points, and his high is 15. His average is about 12. So I don't know, man. Can you survive without him? So you don't have to drop anybody? Sometimes I do that, especially if my record is great. But yeah, I see here. He says I'm playing against 6-0 number one, so I need these points. Yeah, never mind. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think I would still hold on to Tracy and drop Singletary if I had that option. But again, good luck, man. Hopefully, whoever you pick up, which I think should be, I just don't know if Njoku is actually going to do well since Amari Cooper is departing, or if that team's just going to suck even more. But we've seen Njoku have some pretty good games last year. So I wouldn't put it past him to get that maybe up into the 20-point range in certain situations. But I just don't know, man. And Taysom Hill is just an army Swiss knife. We don't know if he's even going to play much when he comes back. Even though the Saints could use him quite a bit. If he does come back, I think it will be good. So maybe Taysom Hill. Take the chance on Taysom Hill since you need that boom or bust. I think Njoku is the safer option, but I think Taysom Hill can get you those points that you need, especially since Rattler's the starter and since they're going to be out quite a bit of wide receivers. So Taysom Hill is my boom guy, and Singletary, I mean, I would drop Singletary for Taysom Hill if he's going to give me the points to beat the number one guy. But yeah, I'll move on. Chopped Up says Brian Thomas Jr. and Sam Darnold for Joe Mixon. Do it. I'm down with that. Joe Mixon is very good. We've seen what he can do when he's actually healthy. So I think the past, 3 games that he's played this season? Let me double check. Yeah, 3 games. He's got 26, 8 points where he got hurt that game. And then, I mean, he only played 42% of the snaps this past game. He got 28 points. He's going against Green Bay. It's going to be a tough matchup next week. Green Bay is usually pretty good against running backs, but Joe Mixon is Joe Mixon. So I think he's going to get the touches. I don't think he's going to get 2 touchdowns this game, maybe 1. So maybe looking more about 15 to 20 points this week. But rest of the season, man, I really like Joe Mixon. I've been trying to trade for him in most leagues if I don't have him already. So I think Joe Mixon is a league winner, just like pretty much last year he was. So if you can get Joe Mixon, do it. I think giving up Brian Thomas Jr. with the roster you showed me is pretty dang good. Bruh also says, I just have Terry, Amon-Ra, London, and Debo, and I would just have one of them sitting on the bench with no use. Alrighty. So he's talking about over here, basically, with this trade. Terry, Amon-Ra, London, and Debo. Oh, man, such a hard thing. It's hard, man, because we know how much injuries have plagued the league this year. I just don't want one of your guys to get hurt, and then you just don't have a fallback plan, especially since CMC is already on IR. This is tough. And you for sure want CMC and Mason, like you're 100% sure on that. So if you are, I'd say I'd be okay with you doing that. Of course, it's your team. It's not my team. So I think you giving up Dobbins and London for CMC is good. But yeah, There you go. What about the trade for Mixon with Terry? Yeah, if you could trade Terry for Mixon, do it. I think if you do that straight up, I think you win that trade in the long run. I think it's great for you, especially since you need, consistent flex guy or a guy to go ahead and go into the running back position when you need him on those certain weeks. I think that's the better option. I like Mixon. You give up less, and you have that safety net with that wide receiver core, so you don't have to give away too much. But bro also says, I just want a running back upgrade from Dobbins. Yeah, if you can get Mixon, throw Dobbins in there and Terry, and get Mixon. You won't be sad about it. I promise you. Let's see. Andrew also says that team earlier we were talking about in the 12-man league is a 4-2 team, so not bad, man. Yeah, try to beat the 6-0 guy. I'm one of those guys, and I'm talking a lot of smack right now. So it's going to be pretty bad when somebody beats me. And it's always going to be that one guy who's just doing bad in the league to beat you. So hopefully you're not doing bad, but hopefully that guy is you who beats the 6-0 guy. But Jackson Polrang, what's up, man? This is your first time here. Go ahead and hit that sub button, hit the like button, and turn on the notification bell so you always know when we're going live or when we release a video. It says 10-man team PPR. I traded away Marvin Harrison and Debo and got CD. Oof, traded away a lot there, man, just to get CD. It says my other receivers are Godwin, Amari, and Kirk. It's also redraft. Yeah. So I don't like that you traded Debo away. I think he's going to come into his own here, especially since Ayuk is just so inconsistent. I know Debo was padded with that one crazy 60-yard touchdown this past week. But CD, man, it seems like the Cowboys and CD Lamb are just going through it because Dak Prescott can't get him the ball. I mean, he's pretty consistent, getting mostly double-digit points every week, but it's just so hard for him to, get the consistency that we were used to last year. I mean, he hasn't even had a game this year with 100 yards receiving, so it's not very good. He only has 2 touchdowns. I think he may have given up just a little bit too much, but it's not bad with Godwin there to save you. I mean, Godwin is crazy. Amari Cooper looks like he's going to get some benefit here going to the Buffalo Bills. And Christian Kirk, he has his games. Especially these past few weeks. I'm pretty sure he's been involved over there. This past game, not so much, but the games before that, as Jacksonville started to get more going, he is the guy who's getting a lot of touches. And his other counterpart, Brian Thomas Jr., is also getting touches too. So not too bad, man. Not too bad. I do like it. When you have Godwin on your team the way he's playing this year, I think he's like your savior all the time. So not bad. But let's see. He says it was Terry and Dobbins for Mixon and Pittman / Downs. Yeah, in my opinion, see if you can get somebody else besides Pittman and Downs. But if he's not budging at all, oh man, yeah, just do Mixon and Pittman, in my opinion. I think Pittman has more upside going later into the season. Downs is pretty good, but I think just Pittman is supposed to be that number one guy, So I'd rather have Pittman than I would with Josh Downs. I think he's going to be more consistent for you, and he's also a better touchdown guy, in my opinion. But again, I'm just scared, man. Joe Flacco, he's the only guy that actually gets them the ball consistently. But Jackson also says, I haven't done it yet, but the only reason I'm really considering it is because I have CMC and Kittle. Are you a San Francisco 49ers fan? Hey, man, go Seahawks. But anyways, yeah, he hasn't done it yet. So the trade away Marvin Debo and get CD. In my opinion, man, I don't know, bro. Because I think if you keep all these wide receivers from San Francisco, you're going to be hurting in week 9 with that bye week. So I guess I wouldn't mind this, but is there somebody else, maybe Christian Kirk instead of Debo? Or maybe you could do Debo and Christian Kirk and keep Marvin Harrison for CD. I just don't know if the guy would go for it. But like I said, CD hasn't been doing that good. So I think an upgrade with Marvin Harrison and Debo just by itself is good enough to possibly get CD on your roster. and he's most likely going to be your second wide receiver or your flex guy, depending on how Amari Cooper does with the Bills. So I'm not mad at it. I think it's good, especially since you'd probably be keeping Marvin Harrison and Debo as well. So you have some cushion there when there's bye weeks come around. Yeah, I'd say do it. Just try to do Marvin and Kirk. So see if that works out. He said, there you go. He says, what if I added Leggett? To that trade, if you added Leggett, so you're getting away Terry, Dobbins, and Leggett for Mixon and Pittman, or who else are you trying to get? Let me know. Jackson also says, I'm not even a Niners fan. I'm from Minnesota. My bad, guy. My bad. It's because the majority of our fans here are Niners fan because our other co-host, AJ, has been great with recruiting fans from the 49ers, area. It says, bruh, no, if he added Leggett. Oh, yeah. Dude, take Leggett. He's getting more consistent in that offense, especially with Andy Dalton at the helm. I don't know if Andy Dalton is going to be guy says I'm a Panthers fan. I would take Leggett. I think he's doing good. He's getting more consistent, like as I said. I mean, these past 3 games, he's had 2 touchdowns. So 19 points in week 4, only 1.8 against Chicago in week 5. But you kind of expected that with the Bears defense doing the way it is. And then Atlanta, 11.3 with a touchdown. So he's getting a little bit more consistent here and there. They are finding him more out there, so he's getting more touches. It's just hard because he will be going against some tough defenses throughout the rest of the season. He has Washington, who doesn't have the best, but he's got Denver. He's got the Giants, who have a decent secondary. He's got Kansas City. He's got Philadelphia, and a couple others like Tampa Bay and Atlanta, who have some good defenses. So those are going to be some tougher games for him, but I think Leggett has some upside. So if you can get Leggett instead of Downs and Pittman, I wouldn't be mad about that. But if you can get Pittman and Leggett as well, try it. Just depends on what you can get. But yeah, you'll never know unless you try it. But Juan Pena Jr., what's up, man? He says, who should I trade? Wide receivers are DJ Moore, Tank Dell, Calvin Ridley, Wan'Dale Robinson, Jacoby Myers. Nice. That's a good room there. I think there's definitely some room for improvement there. But running backs are Kevin Walker, Josh Jacobs, Breece Hall, Kyron Williams, Jerome Ford. And he says, I picked up Downs, Madison, and Tyrone Tracy off of waivers. Nice. I really like the Tyrone Tracy pickup and Madison pickup. They're doing pretty good right now. So could be benefiting you for sure. But says, who should I trade? In my opinion, I mean, I don't really like Calvin Ridley. And he's been getting pretty frustrated over there in Tennessee. So I think he's a tradeaway candidate, but really he doesn't have much stock unless you get with the Titans fan and try to trade him for the Titans fan. But yeah, Calvin Ridley, I will want you to trade, but you just won't get anything out of him. In my opinion, try to sell Wan'Dale Robinson. I know it's going to hurt, but the New York Giants just lost one of their tackles, I believe, to a season-ending injury that needs surgery. So since you have DJ Moore and Tank Dell, I think you giving away Wan'Dale Robinson for somebody else to probably boost up your wide receiver core could help you because DJ Moore and Tank Dell are doing good, but Calvin really just stinks. Jacoby Myers is, week to week, depending on how he's going to do. And then I like that running back room already. So if this is a double flex, which I'm assuming it is, try to get rid of Kenneth Walker, pair him up with Calvin Ridley or Wan'Dale Robinson. Go get yourself an amazing wide receiver, man. Try to get guys kind of like Donovan, or what's his name? Ugh. Sorry, man. I'm sick, so kind of going through it with my brain right now. But the guy from the Eagles, Smith, I would like you to get somebody like him who's very consistent, getting 15 to 25 points a game. Other guys would be trying to take a risk on Amari Cooper, Devontae Adams. They're moving teams that could get a lot better. Try to get guys like, of course, maybe Marvin Harrison, if you could. He's injured right now, so people are looking for some instant relief for that guy. But Devontae Smith, that's the guy who was talking about. Try to get him. I really like him. Pairing him with DJ Moore, Tank Dell, who have some very feasible and easy schedules, could help you season long. But if not, if you want more guys with more consistency, go after guys like, if you want to, Chris Godwin. I don't think you'll get him. But Nico Collins, who's hurt right now. I think Collins is a great guy to get. If not, T. Higgins, Stephon Diggs, so many options, man. So see who needs help. Just try to get as best of a wide receiver as you can for those guys. I think you giving up Wanda Robinson as well as Kenneth Walker the third will get you some pretty good takes there, especially guys who need running backs. But Trey Becker says, think Deontay Johnson goes to the Chiefs. Heard they are looking at him. I mean, it's a possibility. I think that the Panthers season is lost again. They're just going to try to get a good pick and try to get some picks from people so they can, upgrade this roster as much as they can with young talent. The only thing that sucks about being a Panthers fan right now, sorry, bro. But, you got to wait because you got to get these guys up and running. Deontay Johnson is just a filler piece right now to try to get these guys, this team at least winning a couple of games, make it look like they're trying to win. But in reality, we know they're not. But yeah, poor Dave Canales as the head coach there for the first year. It kind of sucks. Is just trying to get pieces in there to be competitive, like Andy Dalton, Deontay Johnson, Chuba Hubbard, who's been there for a while, is doing pretty good. But it's hard, man. But I don't know if he goes to the Chiefs. I know, Trey, you're a Chiefs fan, so I think you would like that. But I think you guys are going to stick with Juju. I think you guys are going to stick with guys like Kelsey and a couple of guys that you got already. So I think you guys are looking pretty good sitting at 5-0. I don't think you really need to do too much anymore. But yeah, so we'll see. But yeah, I would want to, if I was a Chiefs fan, to upgrade from Xavier Worthy, McCall Hardman, Sky Moore, and Justin Watson, because you really only got Juju Smith-Schuster right now. But yeah, I could see it in a world. I just don't know if the Chiefs are going to try to get better than Deontay Johnson. Kenny reminds me of South Park, man. But he says, sorry if you don't like South Park. But he says, should I trade Wilson for Cup full PPR? Do it. Cup is going to come back. He's going to be great. As long as he can stay healthy, I'm going to knock on wood for you if you get this trade. As long as he stays healthy, I think you're going to be sitting pretty, my guy. Cooper Kupp is just a beast. Garrett Wilson is going to be taking the backseat to Devontae Adams. If not taking the backseat, just splitting 50-50 with those touches. I think it makes the Jets better for sure, but I think it is at the detriment of Wilson. So poor Garrett. He's finally getting something going, and then they trade for Devontae. Oh, man. Devontae Adams, it's a better situation for him, but it just ruins Garrett Wilson's situation that he's had and he's built these past few years. So sucks to have it, man, but it is what it is. I mean, I would take this trade for you. I think you're going to win this trade at the end of the year as it's all said and done. But yeah, so finally got through these comments here. So I'm going to go through some of my other guys that I think you should pick up on waivers. I think where we left off is running backs. So I'm going to go with some quick wide receivers here. Of course, Amari Cooper, if he's there, he's owned in 93% of leagues. But for some reason, in one of my leagues, he's on the waiver wire. I don't know how. But there's a lot of guys in this league that are on the waiver wire that should not be there. It's just that we have a 10-man league, and we have a lot of guys who don't keep up with some of it. But here's some people on here that I'm just going to switch to the next fantasy because this one's more competitive. People are always picking people up. But of course, I think Dontavian Wicks should be coming back pretty soon. I think he's going to be playing pretty well. Hopefully this injury doesn't hold him off too long, but he's week to week at this point in time. So if you need the help in the long-term situation, He should be back for the games against Jacksonville and of course Detroit. I think he could be utilized heavily there in those when he comes back. So keep an eye on him. But other guys for sure to look at are, of course, Ray McLeod from the Atlanta Falcons. He's been doing pretty good on and off. For you deep league guys, he could be a guy to help you get some points on the board. But other than that, I think Jared Judy is a guy that you should try to pick up. The Browns are going to need somebody else to get the ball to more effectively. Even though Deshaun Watson kind of stinks, I think the departure of Amari Cooper helps Jared Judy. I think it helps Njoku. I just don't know how much. I think Jared Judy could get back to getting his double-digit points from 11 to 13 pretty consistently. So if you need that flex guy, depending on how many flexes you have in your league or how deep your league is, Jared Judy is only owned in 56% of rosters. I think this benefits him a lot. So excuse me, guys, but getting a little sicky over here. Got the scratchy throat and everything. But all right. Some other guys, I think are going to benefit, and I think that you should pick up are, of course, where's he at? Sorry, guys. My brain is going crazy. Of course, Allen Lazard. We've seen what he's done. I think that him getting back Devontae Adams frees him up more. We've seen Allen Lazard get a little bit more, I guess, what's the word? Covered now that they know that he's a problem. But having Garrett Wilson and Devontae Adams there are going to free him up in the slot. I do think that he will get more playing time than Mike Williams here. Mike Williams is pretty much the odd man out. So in my opinion, I think Allen Lazard is a guy that I'm going to pick up just because for the small chance that he does get open more often, he's going to be getting some more touchdowns. He's going to be getting some more bigger yak plays. So I'm going to pick up Allen Lazard. I think Devontae Adams makes this team a little bit more versatile in my opinion. So Allen Lazard for me is a fantasy pickup, even though that it should dig into his production when Devontae Adams gets the ball a little bit more. But we're going to move into my favorite position, the tight ends. A guy that I drafted, Cole Kmet. I think he's great. Get Cole Kmet on your roster. He's going to be great, especially with this offense getting a little bit better. We saw it this past week. 5 for 5, 2 dang touchdowns. He will be kind of touchdown relevant, but if you need the help at wide receiver or at tight end, he's basically a wide receiver. He's been doing pretty consistently. Above 5 points is what you want at the tight end position right now if you can't get those top guys to trade for. So if you need a quick fix, Cole Kmet on the waiver wire. He's owned in 71% of the league, so he might not be there for you. But if he's not, Cade Otton. Cade Otton has been very consistent, 9 to 11 points basically in the past 3 out of 4 weeks. His low against Atlanta was 7 basically in this past 4 weeks. And he's getting consistently targeted at least 4 to 9 times a game. He's doing pretty good at catching majority of those passes. This past week, he got a touchdown. So could that be more touches for him going forward in the red zone? We'll see. But Cade Otton has been very consistent. If you need a waiver wire guy, he's owned in 42% of the league, so he should be there for you. But other than that, a guy that I've been consistently talking about that hasn't gone away is Zach Ertz. He had a bad game in week 5 against Cleveland, but he followed it up with a great game against Baltimore. He had 5 targets, 4 receptions, 68 yards for 10.8 fantasy points in PPR. So in my opinion, he's great, even though he is 33. He's a top 15 tight end, sitting at number 14 right now. I think he should be picked up with a very favorable schedule coming into these next 5 weeks. Got Carolina, Chicago, which is probably going to be the worst one out of all these. He's got the Giants, then Pittsburgh, and then Philadelphia, who are pretty much all giving up pretty decent points to tight ends. So Zach Ertz could be a guy for you if you need him in this time period. Maybe you have Goddard going down. We don't know how long he's going to be out. But Zach Ertz is only owned in 36% of leagues, so he should be there for you, most likely. But other than that, I mean, really not too much else to offer. A lot of the guys are going to be picked up at this point in time since tight end is just a dime a dozen right now, man. It's so hard. There's pretty much only like 10 good, maybe like 7 or 6 good consistent tight ends. And a couple of them are going to be on the waiver wire because not a lot of people care about tight ends and the points that they give until they start losing. But let me go ahead and get to some of these comments. I got 3 come in since I've been talking about tight ends. But Supersize Senpai says, which QB should I start? Kyler Murray, Trevor Lawrence, Sam Darnold, or Drake May? That's crazy, man. Do you have all 4? Or are those guys on the waiver wire and trying to pick one of them up? For sure, Kyler Murray didn't do too hot this past week because he went against the Packers. But let me go ahead and bring all these guys up. I want to compare them and see who they're playing against, like 100%. He's going against the Chargers for Kyler Murray, so not a bad matchup. Defense is pretty good, so it probably won't be the best to start him, in my opinion. Trevor Lawrence has the New England Patriots over there in London. I don't think that is a good matchup for him as well. And I know Sam Darnold also has a tough matchup this week. He's going against Detroit. Now, the defense might be a little bit hurting because Aiden Hutchinson is gone, but we saw how he played against the New York Jets. He played against the Packers pretty well, 21 points there, but the Jets with their good defense there and getting to him and pressuring him, he didn't do that well over there in London. So it could have been the London type of bad game for him there, but in my opinion, I think Detroit is much tougher than the Jets. So I don't think Sam Darnold here. I think I'm going to go with my rookie pick that I said in the beginning of this video. I think Drake May against Jacksonville is the best bet. He's going to London. He's going to go have fun. His first week of football is looking pretty good besides the 2 interceptions. I don't think Jacksonville is going to make him cough it up more than one time, if any, at this point. He's looked pretty good on the run. His passing game is good. I think it will continue to improve. So I think I'm going to go Drake May here. Might not be the one you really want to play, but I think that's the best matchup out of all 4 of these guys. But let's see. He says, I own Kyler, but he hasn't really been lighting it up. And now he's going against the Chargers, who defense is actually good against the passing game. Yeah, for sure. So, yeah, I think, honestly, Drake May is going to be getting picked up, if not after this week, after next week. So pick him up early because I don't think he's going to do good against the Jets in week 8. So week 7 is the best time to play him. Do it now. Tone Bear says, yo, what's up, man? If you have any fantasy questions, go ahead and put them down in the comment section down here. I'll answer it as soon as I can. But Pyroko says, got offered Raj, Marvin Harrison Jr., and Mooney or Hunt for Mahomes and Jefferson. So Mahomes hasn't been doing the best. So I think you would want an upgrade there. Don't know if Rodgers is going to be that upgrade all the time, but he did do well this past game. 18 points. So it's not too much of an upgrade for Mahomes. I think Mahomes will be more consistent, getting you around that 15 points that he usually does, with the off chance of getting a little bit higher. But it could be an upgrade from week to week, maybe a downgrade in some weeks. I think I would want to stay with Mahomes, but getting Marvin Harrison Jr. and Mooney or Hunt, I think is a good offer there. I think Darnell Mooney is going to continue to be a force when he's healthy for the Atlanta Falcons. And Marvin Harrison Jr. is also going to be great when he's healthy for the Cardinals. So I think giving up Jefferson is kind of where I'm hesitant here, because Jefferson has found his own with his new quarterback, Sam Darnold. He's not getting the consistent 20 plus all the time. Sometimes it's 15 when he doesn't get a touchdown, but he's getting a lot of yards. He's getting quite a bit of catches. Not the catches that we want to see, like double-digit catches, but he's getting them. And his team is winning. So when the team is winning, the player's playing good. Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to have a little bit more trouble because his team is not winning very often. So I think, in my opinion, I'm going to stay with Mahomes and Jefferson here. I do think the upside for Marvin Harrison Jr. and Mooney is very enticing, but I just think I'm going to stay with the safe bets here. Jefferson and Mahomes will be consistent all year long. They are the best guys on their respective teams, and I think you should keep them. Rodgers will be up and down. Marvin Harrison Jr. will be up and down once he comes back from his injury. And Mooney, I mean, of course, as long as he stays healthy, he'll be pretty consistent and good. But yeah, Mahomes and Jefferson for me. But go ahead and put your full roster down below so I can, have a better vantage point of seeing how you're doing, as well as your record, if you want to put it. K-Dog says, should I trade Cup for Cooper? No, man. Keep Cup. Keep Cup. Don't get fooled by Amari Cooper going to the Bills. He will be doing better, but I think Cup has way more upside as soon as he comes back for the Rams. That's all the Rams are missing is the pass game. The run game is there. The defense is not there, but that's good for the offense because that means Cooper Kupp, more passing attempts. So I would keep Kupp. Don't be fooled by Cooper. Tone Bear also says, I'm 1-5, sadly. Oh, I hate to hear that, man. But that's why we're here. We're trying to help you get into the playoffs. We got about, 6 to 7 more weeks, I believe, before the playoffs starts for majority of leagues. Maybe 8, I think. But it says, I'm 1-5, sadly. Need to trade away someone. I have Kyler, Kyron, Mason, CMC, Brooks, Irving, Dowdle. What a running back room, man. Olave, Ayuk, Waddle, Worthy, Puka. Man, I can't wait for Puka to come back. I have him on IR at this point. Johnson, and then tight ends are Laporta and Kraft. So, of course, I think you should sell Kraft. Sell Kraft high. Somebody's going to need a tight end out there, and his boomer bust ability is going to entice somebody. So try to throw Kraft, try to sell Kraft, as well as maybe selling somebody like Worthy or Ayuk. Get those problem guys off your team. Get a better wide receiver, in my opinion. But yeah, CD is on the trading block. I think I would throw a bunch of players at that guy. In my opinion, you'll probably have to give up somebody pretty high in the rankings there. But it's just going to be hard, man, because if you're going to get CD, you're going to lose a lot. I would try to go after guys that are doing a little bit better, that won't cost as much. Devontae Smith from the Eagles. I really like him. I've liked him for the past few years. So if you can get him, I think he's a great upside guy. If you could also get the dynamic duo with Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua, man. I mean, those are some of the only teams that I think can actually keep it going when you have two guys from their same team on your fantasy. The only other guys that I've been doing it with is AJ Brown and Devontae Smith, and they're getting me collectively 40 to 50 points a week. So I think you could totally get that with Puka and Kupp. They pass the ball so much with Stafford that I think you'd be pretty good to get them. But try to go after some guys, and if you can't get Kupp from the guy that has him, try to get somebody, of course, like CeeDee Lamb. I just don't want you to give up too much. Try to get somebody like Stephon Diggs, Drake London. Those guys are doing pretty consistent. But Nico Collins, who's hurt right now, try to snag him away. Try to get him. He's very consistent. He's the number 3 wide receiver, even though he's been out for a week. So try to get that guy. You just need a big boom guy on your team who's going to be consistent every single week. And I think those guys are it. But if you want somebody who's a little bit less, not going to cost so much, try to get Terry McLaurin as well. Those guys are going to be pretty consistent the rest of the season with what I've seen from their respective teams. But yeah, he says CD's on the trading block, 10-team full PPR, by the way. Pyrogo says I'm 2-4, and it's a 12-team super flex. Crazy, man. He says his roster, Mahomes, oh, man, Anthony Richardson. Yeah, I made that mistake in one of my leagues too. I think I dropped him already. But Kyron, Brees, Jefferson, Deontay Smith, Oh no, not Deontay Smith. Sorry, Deontay Johnson. Waddle, Dell, Ferguson, Etienne, and Brooks. Oh man, Etienne, gross. It says I could package two of those wide receivers for a higher tier wide receiver. That's probably what I would do. Maybe go Deontay Johnson and Tank Dell because I don't know if Tank Dell is going to keep up the consistency after Nico Collins comes back. Hopefully, your opponent doesn't see that. So I would go Deontay Johnson and Dell. If not, I would go Deontay Johnson and Waddle. But you got to get a return, my guy. You got to get a big return. So, in my opinion, if I was going to do that, I would get someone like Amon-Ra St. Brown. I would get someone like AJ Brown, Malik Neighbors when he comes back healthy. But yeah, I'm going for those big guys, those top 10 wide receivers, top 7 wide receiver guys if I'm giving up Deontay Johnson and Waddle. If you want to go tick for tack with Jefferson and trying to get like Jefferson and Tank Dell and try to get like Chris Godwin, I would be okay with that too because you're bumping yourself up at least maybe 5 to 10 points a week. I think you need more since you are 2-4. So I think it's better for you to get rid of the guys that are not doing so well right now, but have upside later in the season in Waddle, Dell, and Deontay Johnson. So see what they can do for that. But Tone Bear says also CD owner has Nico. What a crazy duo. How did he do that? That's insane. Did he trade for him? Because I don't know how he would be able to draft that guy unless Nico just fell tremendously. But Tone Bear says, thanks, man. For sure, man. That's what we're here for. Always come back every week whenever you need some advice or if you just want to talk football. But Charles Oliver, what's up, man? If this is your first time here on the channel, go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button too. Hit the bell too if you want to be notified whenever we go live and when we release some videos. Let's get to your question here. It says Deontay Johnson or Amari Cooper rest of the season PPR. I mean, Deontay Johnson has been doing pretty dang good on his team, considering what team he's on. He had a bad week in week 5 against the Bears, but every other week, I mean, 19 to 26 points is pretty dang good. Amari Cooper being traded to the Bills, we do not know, man. We just do not know. I am predicting that he's going to go from what he was getting to going to 15 plus points per game. The Bills are in need of a good wide receiver to run all types of routes. So I think Amari Cooper is pretty good, but I think Deontay Johnson, the way he's been playing, he's going to keep playing better than Amari Cooper. The Bills have not been a pass-heavy team like recent years unless they're trailing, and they haven't really been trailing too often. But he says he also has DJ, worried about Panthers going back to Bryce. Yeah, that is the only thing, especially since Andy Dalton isn't playing his best football right now. They're not winning, so you would think maybe, hey, let's just throw our rookie back out there. But I don't think they'll do that. I think they'll keep Andy Dalton out there majority of the season. I don't think they're going to throw Bryce Young back in yet until they know for sure that he's ready. And I think maybe that's next year. But he says currently have a trade offer on Amari. Yeah, I would want to keep Amari Cooper. I would also want to keep Deontay Johnson, even if Bryce Young comes back. Because if Bryce Young comes back and he's not getting the ball consistently, Deontay Johnson and the offense just looks horrendous, I think, again, they're going to bench him. But I think it's smarter not to play Bryce Young. I don't know if Dave Canales is going to see that or if they're just trying to, use a scare tactic for Bryce Young that's saying you need to get better. But I don't think they'll put him out there until they for sure know that he's playing better than Andy Dalton. And I don't think it's going to be this year. Pyroko. It says Pareko. I don't know if I'm saying your name right, man. So correct me if I'm saying it wrong. It says, I'm praying Deontay gets traded to Kansas City. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Charles is betting on the same thing because they know that he's going to get consistently fed if he goes there. But we'll see, man. Deontay Johnson is doing very well. We predicted it in the offseason that he was going to do well. We just didn't know it was going to be with Andy Dalton because we didn't know Bryce Young was going to be this horrendous. So we tried to stay away from him as much as we could, but now that he's doing well, we're kind of, kind of predicted that he would do well no matter what. But Jason Ortiz says, "Yo, what's up, my guy? Thanks for coming back over here." We also have, for those of you who like TikTok, if you are TikTok users, we also have one of our co-hosts, AJ. He's a 49ers fan. He's also on live for TikTok, answering all these fantasy questions. I'm here on YouTube. We're kind of double dipping right now, getting as many followers as we can to come over to our TikTok as YouTube as well. So if you want to, go ahead and go and check out the TikTok one as well. AJ gives some great advice. If you have some questions in there, he might get to them because right now he has like 70 people live with him compared to like my 5 right now. But it was at 10 and 15 earlier, so it's dying down a little bit. But Jason also says, would you trade Pollard and Hawkinson for Kyler Murray and is that Josh Jacobs? Uh, I mean, that sounds very enticing. I would do that. Giving up a guy who hasn't played at all in Hawkinson to get Josh Jacobs, I would do that. If you need the wide receiver more and getting a scary Terry, I would do that as well. I think that's a great trade. It says, I lost Fields and my tight end is Kittle already. Oh, Kittle's the number 1 tight end, man. I predicted it. I put a bet on Kittle going for 700 plus yards. So I know he's going to hit it for sure as long as he keeps up the consistency and stays healthy. But yeah, I would trade Pollard and Hawkinson in a heartbeat to get Josh Jacobs or Scary Terry. Just depends on who you need more. Do you need running back more or do you need wide receiver more? He says, yeah, Josh Jacobs. But yeah, that's my opinion there. I would do that. F it. Send it, man. See if you can get it. I think you benefit off that trade for sure. And reporting on Fields here, I think Fields will be back as a starter. I'm a Seahawks fan, as you can see right here and over here, Seahawks fan. So I do think that Russell Wilson is not it. I think that the Steelers will figure that out. And I think that Fields by the maybe week 10, week 11 at the latest, I think he should be the starter. I don't think Russell Wilson will give these guys what they want. I know he's on like a $1 million deal with him basically because Denver Broncos are paying his entire salary. But yeah, I think Justin Fields is the better guy. I think long term he is going to be their guy. He's playing well. So it's crazy if they benched him. Tone Bear says Deontay Johnson, Waddle for Adams and Cup. I would be getting Cups. Dude, if you could do that, I would. You'd be fleecing this guy. Deontay Johnson, we don't know. He's up in the air. Unless he goes to Kansas City, I don't think that he can keep up all this production. But I think he could be consistently getting like 15 points a game with the Panthers the rest of the season. But it's no Cup and Adams, bro. Adams is going to be fed again with Aaron Rodgers. I don't know if it's going to be like how we saw in Green Bay, but it's going to be pretty similar. I say he's going to get 15 to 20 points on average. And Cooper Kupp is Cooper Kupp. 20 to 25 points on average. If you get those guys, you have a great dynamic duo there. So I'd give up Waddle and Deontay Johnson in a heartbeat for that, no matter how much upside Waddle has when Tua's back. But Daniel, what's up, Daniel? He says Kamara for Mixon. So are you getting Mixon or are you getting Kamara? Because I'm a Kamara lover. I love Kamara. He's doing great. Right now, he's in a little bit of a rut because the Saints are doing pretty bad as a team. I mean, I think they said that 34% of their roster is basically injured at this point in time. So if you can get Mixon for Kamara, I would love Mixon. Mixon, I think, is a league winner at this point in time. He's only played 3 games, and the games that he's played fully in, he's above 25 points. So I think he's dang good. But yeah, so I'm going to go Mixon if that's who you're trying to get. If you have Mixon, I wouldn't trade Kamara for him. But Jason Ortiz says, if Fields plays 7+ games, the Bears will get an upgraded pick. Maybe Steelers might make a business decision so Bears don't get that pick. Possibly. I mean, but you want to win. So if Russell Wilson is not allowing you to win, I think you give up the upgraded pick in order to have a good season and a chance at, making the playoffs again. So that's just my opinion, though. That's a business move that, I'm not in charge of. So I think Fields should be playing for sure. But Russell Wilson, again, I don't think he's going to give much more upside if he will give the same upside for the Steelers. But Dr. Barry, what's up, man? I'm a doctor myself, Dr. Bento here. He says, would you trade Deshaun Watson for Will Levis? They both stink. I think I'd rather have Will Levis, though, for sure, for the memes, you know? He says, Daniel. But Drew also says, Barry, you're back. What's up, Doc? And he says, getting Mixon. Yeah, dude, I would get Mixon. Trade away Kamara. He's a great guy to have for sure. 100%. I have him in 4 leagues, and I'm going to hold on to him as long as I can. But right now, man, it's just he's the entire offense. And he's going to be getting that questionable, the doubtful tags on him every single game because he's just going to be used and abused, my guy. But right now, that offense cannot stay on the field consistently. So I think Kamara's stock is going to drop. So if you can get Mixon for him at this point in time, I think you need to do it because Kamara is the number 1 guy right now at the running back position, and he is a top 3 guy in fantasy. But Joe Mixon will get there as well. I mean, like I said, 26 and 27 in the 2 healthy games that he's played this year, he's going to be great. Let's see. Golden Rain, what's up, man? Nice to see you back. 8-team, full PPR, trying to trade Addison, Ramondre, Wando, and Aaron Jones. Dang, that's a lot to trade. That's crazy. But yeah, that sounds good to me right there. I would trade some of those guys away as well. It says for McLaurin, Brian Thomas Jr., and Pollard. Overpay? Question mark. Let me see. So Addison, Ramondre. Ramondre had a great game this past week. Addison, not so much because they're on a bye. But Wandale, he's doing great. Aaron Jones, I mean, injuries, bro, injuries. But Aaron Jones is also on a bye, so hopefully he's back healthy. I do think this is a slight overpay, just with how Aaron Jones and Ramondre Stevenson can be the rest of the season, in my opinion. Ramondre had that scary little stint where he was just not playing good, but he recovered. So I think I would possibly keep these guys. Try to make a smaller trade, in my opinion. Try to do just one of those running backs and maybe Wandell and see if you can get McLaurin and Pollard. So I think you'd be getting back on your return on running back and receiver, but it's like a swap, you know? But right now, I think you're paying a little too much. Oh my gosh. Barry says you've been taking the meds, Trey. Yo, bro, appreciate the scripts. Oh my gosh. But it says thoughts on Wilson. If you're talking about Garrett Wilson, I think his stock is dropping. His targets are going to go down. So that means his receptions most likely will possibly go down too. But I do think that this could benefit him in some capacity. Garrett Wilson will not be the wide receiver 1, in my opinion. I think more people are going to pay attention to Devontae Adams, especially with the type of connection that him and Rodgers have had in the past. Devontae Adams is not who he used to be. Neither is Rodgers. But I think this drops Wilson a little bit in fantasy. So you could trade him. I would still try to trade him high. Try to use reverse psychology, saying that Wilson's going to benefit off this because I think he will, but I don't think he's going to be amazing after this trade. So we'll see. Maybe the Jets' offense just becomes a firepower house. You never know. But I think Wilson, I would probably trade him, to be honest. Try to get somebody who's going to be more consistent. Like I've been saying all video, Devontae Smith, he's a guy that I want to trade for in every single league. I even have traded for him, even though I have A.J. Brown on one of my rosters. But Supersize, or Sir G. Baca, like that name. He says, would you trade Pollard? Oh, yes. Do it. If you can get Marvin Harrison Jr. for Pollard, do it. Especially if you have the running back depth, just do it. But Supersize Senpai says, Rams defense or Chargers defense? I think I'm going to go with the Chargers in this predicament. They are going against the Cardinals here. But let me see who the Rams are playing. I do think they have a tougher matchup. Las Vegas. Oh, never mind. But the Rams defense really doesn't have all that much. I think I'm going to go Chargers here. Chargers have been doing pretty good. They are a top 15 defense. I think they should be ranked higher, in my opinion, because of the points that they've gotten. They just missed a week because they had a bye week. That's why they're 15th. I think they are a top 10 defense this year with the points that they allow, the sacks that they get, the interceptions every single game. I mean, I'm going with the Chargers for sure. But let's see. Oh, these guys are going off. Dr. Barry says Jordan Love really seeming like a first ballot Hall of Famer guy. Reed would agree with you. Reed would agree with you. Big E says, "Yo, I sent a screenshot of my team that scored low points. Do I sell some of the guys or not?" Let me go ahead and check the Discord. I love your what's it called? Your picture there. So his team. Let me go ahead and show you guys. Is that okay, Big E? Can I go ahead and pull your team up on the screen? Let me know before I do it. But let me go ahead and pull this up for you guys. This is Big E on the Discord here. So if you guys can see it, let's see if Big E accepts. He says that's cool. Awesome. So I'm going to show it here. It is a little bit dark, so I'm going to try my best to see if I can get on light mode quickly, but I don't think I can. So I'm just going to read it off to you guys. Kyler Murray, Josh Jacobs, and Derrick Henry as his starters. Jamar Chase and Marvin Harrison Jr. as his starters in the wide receiver spot. Pat Freiermuth at the tight end spot for starting. Drake London and DJ Moore in the flex, Texans defense, and Fairbairn is the kicker. On the bench, he's got tight end Mark Andrews, running back Javonte Williams, Saints defense Geno Smith, Wando Robinson at wide receiver, Jordan Whittington, and Kenneth Bourne at wide receiver as well. So not a bad team, man. But he says he says my team that scored low points. Do I sell some of these guys? So I think some of the guys that you could sell possibly are going to be like Javonte Williams, who's having a little bit of a resurgence. But any of your starters, I don't think I'm going to sell on your starters. I'm going to believe in Josh Jacobs. I'm going to believe in Derrick Henry. I mean, there's no way that you shouldn't. Jamar Chase, believing in him. Marvin Harrison Jr., as soon as he comes back healthy, I think you're going to be fine. But in my opinion here, is this a PPR league or is it not a PPR league? But yeah, Drake London, I'm still believing in this guy. He's doing well. DJ Moore is just a bad week, but I am worried that he's not going to get the production that he should be getting. He just missed a touchdown at the 1 yard line. I mean, that would be 6 more points for you there. I think he should be fine, but again, I am just a tiny bit worried about his production. But if anything, I don't think I would sell too many guys. Maybe Mark Andrews. Try to get somebody better since Pat Freiermuth has been doing pretty consistently. But yeah, that's probably about it, man. I'd probably sell Mark Andrews and Javonte Williams to try to get maybe one more top end wide receiver. But you have Wando Robinson, so maybe I'd go after another top end running back since you only got the two and Josh Jacobs and Derrick Henry. So try to go after a better running back. I've been telling guys all day, try to get Mixon. But if you can't, I mean, there's so many other guys that you can get. So go ahead and try it out. But yeah, not a bad team, bro. But Dr. Barry says, Big E, sell your computer and then quit fantasy football. Oh my gosh. Who is this, bro? Yeah, this is Dr. Barry. But Peanut Butter, he says, do you think Wilson, Addison, and Hunt for Cooper and B-Rob an underpay? Yeah, I think that is an underpay. I think Cooper could benefit off of this trade. I think B-Rob, I mean, I haven't checked up on him in a long time because I don't have him in any leagues. So let me go ahead and make sure that I have his stats pulled up for you here. But he's been doing pretty well too. I mean, I think you giving up Addison and Hunt maybe is a tiny bit little overpay, in my opinion. I think you're giving up a little too much. See if you could do Wilson and Addison or Wilson and Hunt. I think that's what I would do for this area. But Cooper Cup could benefit quite a bit off of this. I have him averaging about 15 fantasy points here because he's not going to get as many targets as you're expecting because the Bills are not a pass-heavy offense anymore. But I think getting rid of Kareem Hunt is a smart thing to do, but it also could bite you in the butt. But Brian Robinson has been playing pretty efficiently. The only thing that worries me here is, of course, that he just got out. So rolled out for week 6 with a knee. Hopefully it's nothing bad. Just make sure you look into it because I don't want you to get him and then he's, placed on IR or something. But yeah, I think this is a little bit of an overpay in my opinion. But Dr. Barry says, I'm a doctor. I'm just trying to help you. Daniel says, rate my team 8-man league. He says he has Love, Murray, Mason Kamara, Walker, Brian Robb, who we just talked about, and Dobbins. So not a bad running back room. I like it. I definitely got some high quality guys there, and Kamara and Walker, and Mason too. Good pickup as well if you didn't draft him. But he says his wide receivers are Amon-Ra, Tank Dell, Godwin. Oh gosh, Wilson, Ayuk, and Ingram as his tight end, I guess. But yeah, that's a great also wide receiver room. Amon-Ra, Godwin. In my 8-man league, I have, I believe, Tyreek Hill, Justin Jefferson, and AJ Brown. Yeah, I don't know how I did that, but I made some crazy trades with some guys. I traded away Rashee Rice the week before he got hurt and got Tyreek Hill because I wanted more upside at the end of the season as I was winning pretty frequently. But yeah, now I got some of the 3 best wide receivers, and by the end of the season during playoffs time, I think I'm going to be unstoppable with my wide receiver core. But yeah, Ingram. But not bad. I think I would rate it probably for an 8-man league. I think a B. I'm going to go flat B because I still think there's room for improvement since I have an 8-man league that I just love. So that's just me being biased towards my team compared to yours. But having Amon-Ra and Godwin, I mean, they're doing amazing, especially Godwin. So I think your team is doing pretty dang good. But Big E says, all right, I'll keep that advice in mind. But Caleb Davis, what's up, man? Sorry if I took a little long to get your comment here. Hopefully you're still here. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. We're on our way to 1,000 subscribers here, and we'd really appreciate it. But let's read your comment here. He says, Dub or L? I traded away Amon-Ra and Mason for JSN. And JSN for Tyreek Hill and Gibbs. Ooh, I don't know, man. I mean, that's a lot to give away, to be honest. Mason, I think he's going to be good for the rest of the season. I do believe when CMC comes back, he's still going to be having some issues. But you could be the smart one. I could be the dumb one. But I think Mason is going to finish out the season here because CMC will be back and forth on, needing a rest week here and there. But Amon-Ra for Tyreek Hill, I do think Tyreek Hill later in the season will be getting some good receptions from Tua as soon as he's back. Hopefully as early as week 8 once Tua gets off IR. That's when he's eligible. It's just crazy, man. But Gibbs is a great running back. The only thing that I don't like is that he's getting his touchdowns scalped away by Montgomery. I mean, that's the only thing. So I think maybe you don't win this trade outright. Maybe it's a straight lateral move. But who knows? It could work out for you. Tyreek Hill and Gibbs at the end of the season could go nuclear, kind of like how they did last year. But it says Big L Caleb, in my opinion. Caleb also says not a fan of Hill rest of the season or a big fan of Mason and JSN. Okay, dokie. Not bad. So you gave away Amon-Ra for a guy that you're not a big fan of? I'm confused. So, but Dr. Barry says low on Hill. And Big E says also that's cool. He says let's roast Big E's team. Caleb also says I feel that. Yeah. He says, is this a 4-man league? Oh my gosh. But Big E says 12-man, please for DJ and Derek PPR league. I'm 3-3. Not bad. Not bad. But Pareko says someone just offered me Neighbors and Pollard for either Brees or Kyron. Oh gosh. I think I would do that, bro. I think when Neighbors comes back, he's back to his form. He was the number one wide receiver when he was healthy. Shoot, I would love him. Pollard is not doing too bad himself. I have him in one league, and he's not doing too bad. I mean, he's inconsistent here and there, but I mean, he's only had 1 week where he hasn't had double-digit points, and I'll read his stats for you. I'm pretty sure you could look at him yourself, but I just like reading them. First week, 18.4 points. Second week, 15.2 points. Third week, his bad week against Green Bay, 5.9. But then Miami, 18.8 points. Against Indy in week 6, 17.8 points. I think you're getting great value. If I were you, I would do Kyron Williams for Neighbors and Pollard. I think you hold on to Brees because I think he has more upside now that this Jets offense is going to be a little bit more versatile. Takes the pressure off of Brees Hall. But yeah, let me know what you think. I think trading away one of those guys for those two is a win because Pollard is playing very efficiently at this point. So, not bad. But Pareko says, if you remember my team from earlier, would that be worth it to get rid of one of those two to get Neighbors and Pollard? Yeah, I think so. I do remember your team slightly. I can go ahead and come back up to bring it back up right here. But yeah, your wide receivers are doing well. So I think you giving up what you said would not be bad at all. I mean, you're giving up one guy, you're getting a high quality wide receiver to help you with Jefferson. But yeah, and then you're only giving up one running back, and I think, in my opinion, he's a great running back. He's not, the best running back. He's not an elite running back, but he's a consistent running back that's going to give you good points. And then you have Jonathan Brooks out there as well. So he could be a league winner too if he comes out and just has like 15 points per game, kind of like how Chuba Hubbard is. But Dr. Barry says 8-man leagues are crazy. I usually don't join in a league with less than 32 teams. Love that, Dr. Barry. Love that. What's your record in that one? Cart Chisel. I like that name too. This is your first time, Cart Chisel. I don't think I would forget that name, so I think this might be. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit the like button. We appreciate you coming over here and asking us some questions. We're here every single week on Tuesday for fantasy advice. But Cart Chisel says, I have Garrett Wilson. Should I try to sell him? If so, who would you go after? Marvin Harrison or maybe Jaden Reed? I think I would go a little bit higher than Jaden Reed, to be honest. But I think if I'm going to give away Garrett Wilson, I think his stock has dropped already since that trade has happened. I think I'm going to go after some guys. I've been talking about Devontae Smith all day. I would go after Devontae Smith. I may even go after guys like Zay Flowers. I think he's going to be a little bit more consistent the way this offense is playing. Now that Derrick Henry is just demolishing everybody in his path, I think that's a high possibility there that, Zay Flowers plays consistently from here on out. But DK Metcalf is another guy maybe you could get for Garrett Wilson. I don't know. He's not as consistent in my opinion, but his boom is there. I mean, he's already had a game here where he scored 33 points, and there's another game that he's already scored, I believe, 28. So he's a high-quality guy, man. You might want to go after him. But other than that, I really wouldn't go after anybody else. You could go after Amari Cooper if you want to, but I don't think he's going to be getting more than 15 on average. High end is like 20 for me for Amari. But Slim Jim, I also like this one. I like the picture too. Is that supposed to be like Colin Kaepernick or something? I don't know, but it's Squidward for sure. I know that. But thanks for coming in, man. If this is your first time, go ahead and hit that sub button too. Hit the like button as well. We appreciate everything as we are on our way to 1,000 subscribers. But he says Andy Dalton or Daniel Jones in Superflex League. Shoot, that one's a tough one. I know Andy Dalton has a tough matchup this week. So I don't think I'm going to go ahead and play Andy Dalton at this point. I think I'm going to go with Daniel Jones. And the only reason I say that is because the Eagles defense didn't look all that great. So in my opinion, Daniel Jones has been playing pretty good. He's inconsistent, here and there, but I think against Philly, he's going to do all right. So I think I'm going to go Daniel Jones here, especially if Malik Neighbors comes back. I think that boosts his game pretty highly because he's going to get more passing touchdowns than he has been lately. But Andy Dalton, he just has a tough matchup against. Let me make sure I have it correct. Against Washington, yeah, it's going to be a high flying game. I don't know if Andy Dalton's going to be able to keep up. So, in my opinion, I think the Washington defense is going to get the best of him. So, I wouldn't go with Andy Dalton. I think I'm going to go with Daniel Jones as my safe pick. But Noah Embody, what's up, man? I think it's your first time too, man. If it is, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, as well as all you guys who may be new here. We're on our way to 1,000 subscribers, so thank you for joining. Been here for about 2 hours, so give me some grace if I start going crazy. But ETN and Jacobs for Mixon. Heck yeah, do it. Mixon, I think he's a league winner. Jacobs, I still believe in him long term, but I think the Packers have different thoughts. They're not giving him the touchdowns he needs, and Mixon is going to get those touchdowns. So I think Mixon is the better guy to have, and ETN is just worth a nail that's been used, basically. But he says, I will never use ETN or start him. My running backs would be Bijan, Mixon, and Achane. I love that. I love it with Bijan, Jacobs, and Achane, but I love it more with Bijan and Mixon with Achane and the flex. So do it, man. I would love that for you. Kurt Chisel, he says, I appreciate it. Thanks. I have Devontae Smith and Debo as well. Nico got injured, so maybe I'll risk it to keep Wilson just to see what the offense looks like. Yeah, I think with that lineup, I think you can risk it. Devontae Smith is getting you 15 to 20 points. Debo just got you a nice, good amount of points with what he did to my Seahawks and that one catch, basically. But yeah, Garrett Wilson, keeping him is not a bad idea. Let's see. Tyler Owens here. He says, hey, brother, can you rank my lineup? 12-man PPR. Lamar, A.J. Brown, Debo, Mooney. Not a bad wide receiver starters right there. Chuba, Bigsby, and Ferguson with Wanda Robinson as, I believe, another flex. Nice. The only thing here, in my opinion, is those running backs. Tank Bigsby looks great. Chuba looks great. But how long are they going to look great? That's my thing. But the bench is Jonathan Taylor. There you go. Never mind. You got JT. He's just injured right now. You got Mostert, who did well this past week as well. Braylon Allen, he's doing well, but he's very inconsistent because Breece Hall is finally back. So I think he's going to take the back seat again. Waddle, Slayton, Saints D, and Seibert from the Commies, the Commanders. I like him. I think he's the best kicker this year so far, besides Aubrey, of course. But off the waiver wire, I think Seibert is the best kicker. But yeah, man, I think I'm going to rate you a B plus here. Don't really give a lot of A's out. I think if I were to give you an A, I think I need one more great running back from you. I'm not saying that your running backs aren't great, but I'm talking like Jonathan Taylor level. I think if you had that, your team would be money. I'm assuming you're not undefeated here because of the injuries and stuff like that. And it's a 12-man, so. But this is a pretty good roster for a 12-man, so I'm going to go B plus here, especially with what we've seen from the season so far. Slim Jin also says, should I play Gibbs against the Vikings? I think you should. This is going to be a high-powered offensive game. Defenses are both good on both sides. But again, Vikings defense is pretty good. Don't be expecting a 20-point game from Gibbs, in my opinion. But the thing that's great about this Lions offense is that they keep these guys fresh. David Montgomery is going to come in. Gibbs is going to come in. So when one of them is in, the other's getting a break. The ones who aren't getting a break are the Vikings. So I think towards the end of the game, as long as the game is close, or if the Lions are leading, I think Gibbs and David Montgomery will be getting a lot of carries and a lot of touch passes too. So that's going to benefit you. I think you should play him. Noam Body says, my lineup is Lamar, Bijan, Mixon, Agent, Lamb, Amon-Ra, McBride, London. Thoughts? Oh gosh, this is a 10-man, right? Yeah, he says it over here. 10-man. That's crazy, man. I like that. If you were to get that, I think you're a shoo-in to possibly make a great run in the playoffs. As long as you can get there, I think these guys are going to be top-notch for you, especially the way their offenses are playing. Yeah, Tyler Owen says JT is hurt. Facts about Seibert. Thanks, man. I'm glad somebody agrees with me. But he's been doing great, honestly. I love him. He's been giving double-digit kicking points very consistently with the way the Commanders get in the end zone or get to the red zone, like pretty much almost every drive. But let's see. Silva, haven't seen you in a while, man. What's up? It says 2-4. Ugh, I hate that. I wish you were better. But let's see how we can do to help you here. He says redraft 0.5 PPR, so half PPR, no IR spots. Oh, that's crazy. Interesting. He says how to improve trade ideas starters. So you got JD, Jaden Daniels, baby. Love it. JT, so Jonathan Taylor there. Chase Brown, not a bad duo there. Chase Brown has been doing pretty good himself. JT, hopefully he comes back healthy. But DK, Flowers, McConkey as the wide receivers there for him, and he's got Kraft as his tight end. Nice. So boomer bust guy for Kraft. He had a bad game this week, but I think he'll rebound and get the consistent points. Flowers did well. DK, I know he dropped the ball. I'm sorry. Seahawks are going through it right now. But I think DK will get back on track, so not bad. Bigsby is going to be in the flex for you there. Not a bad guy to have, especially this past week. But Rashad White, Braylon Allen, Ty Chandler, Juju, Puka, Ferguson, Keon Coleman are the bench guys. So in my opinion, I think here running back is your weak point. I can see you got a lot of guys off of the waiver wires. I'm pretty sure you didn't draft Chase Brown. Pretty sure you didn't draft Tank Bigsby, unless you knew something that a lot of us didn't. But Braylon Allen, I think, is a guy you should drop to try to, or trade away, sorry. I think is a guy you should trade away in a package to try to get a better running back. I think Chase Brown is going to be good, but for how long? This Bengals offense is looking like they're trending more towards passing the ball than running the ball. I don't think Chase Brown will hold up the entire rest of the season. So in my opinion, I'm going to trade possibly Chase Brown, Braylon Allen, and I might package, since you have, a decent wide receiver core, I'm going to package Juju right now and send him to somebody who needs a wide receiver. Because Puka should be coming back within the next 2 to 3 weeks, I think you'll be fine at the wide receiver position with DK, Flowers, and Puka in your lineup. If you don't want to get rid of Juju, I would say Keon Coleman. But again, you won't get something as good. If you send Juju packaged with Bigsby and Chase Brown and Braylon, I think you're going to get a package that you're really going to like at the running back position. So look for a guy who really, really needs all that. He needs a good wide receiver who's going to be consistent for him, hopefully. And then, of course, a good running back to trade. So in my opinion, I would probably go after guys like Mixon. Been talking about him all day long. Probably guys like Montgomery as well. Excuse me. But yeah, I'm going after guys like that. I mean, there's so many areas that you can go. I would even try to go somebody like you already have Jonathan Taylor. Yeah. I'd probably go Mixon for sure. I'd probably go maybe Jacobs. I think they will utilize him pretty well. And of course, Montgomery, as I said. Another guy who's a sleeper guy, if you don't want to give up all those people, get Tony Pollard. People are sleeping on him. He's been doing consistently getting 15 to 18 points every single week except for one. I think you could get a good return with Chase Brown and possibly Juju. I think you could get Tony Pollard and another wide receiver. So try that. I think those are the guys that you really want to trade away. If you want to make a smart move, in my opinion, I know Bigsby is pretty tempting to a lot of people right now. If you could do Bigsby for somebody straight up who's going to be the starter for sure, 100%, try to get that running back. So, but you never know. Just try to fish out there, see what you can get. But Noah says 10 man. Tyler says, I'm trying to trade Stevenson for Braylon and Mostert. I wouldn't want to get Braylon at this point in time. Not with the way, for a good handcuff, yeah. But with the way that Breece Hall has been playing, I think he's going to be the solidified starter for sure. Braylon won't get too many opportunities like he did this last time. I know he got a touchdown, but I don't think he'll be getting those too many anymore with Devontae Adams coming to town. So I think Braylon Allen is the odd man out here. Don't think he's going to be getting what you want him to get. Tyler Owen says, thanks, pimp. Great takes. Thank you, sir. Try my best to give you all the best advice I can. Something that I would do in my fantasy league. But B Silva says 12 man. Salcerita, what's up? What's up? If this is your first time, go ahead and hit that like button. And if you're feeling generous, hit the subscribe button. We're on our way to 1,000 subs. So good luck. That's cool. I think AJ got somebody there on live with him. It's pretty awesome. He says, hey man, how many fab dollars should I spend on Sean Tucker in the 12-man Dynasty League deep format? Not much left on waivers. I mean, he went off. I know he went off this week. So, in my opinion, how much fab did they give you guys? That's my first question. Yeah, I mean, he went nuclear for sure. The only thing that I'm worried about is Bucky Irving, because I still think Bucky Irving is going to be above him in the depth chart, and I know for sure that Rachaad White is coming back. So who is the odd man out here? I think that's Tucker, but I do believe since it's a deep dynasty format, I do believe you still want to pick him up because you just never know. Injuries always happen, or trades always happen. So maybe Rachaad White just doesn't get re-signed. Maybe he gets traded away this offseason, something like that. And now Sean Tucker is, relevant. So in my opinion, I'm gonna go depending on how much fab they give you. Let's see. He says right here we have 100. I have like 90 left. Hello, waivers are dry AF. How funny. I'm gonna go safe 10. If somebody bets higher than you, they just bet higher than you. I'm not going to go more than 10 because there's a lot more season left. If I'm being conservative and I want to save a lot of my fab, I'm going 5. But if I don't care about my fab because waivers kind of suck, I'm going 10, maybe even high end 15. You never know. But I'm going 10. That's my safe bet. If somebody goes higher and you're okay with him leaving and not being on your team, F it, whatever. 10 is 10. If somebody goes 11, they just beat you by $1. So let him have it. But I don't think he's going to be very relevant. So again, it's just having somebody long term for the chance maybe he's something later on in the league. But Dizzle says, what's good, Vince? What's good, man? Sorry about the Jets. Hopefully you like my power ranking videos coming out on Thursday. But if not, you know how it is. Boo Jets. He says, dude, that game would not end last night. I was freaking zombie today. I bet, dude, me too. I didn't wake up on time like I wanted to. I woke up like 30 minutes late, but it is what it is. He says, Jets about to make a run with Devontae. You think he plays this week? Dude, I think there's a 90% chance he plays for sure. I think that that hamstring is going to heal. I mean, he's had time already, but that hamstring is going to be fully healed. I just know it. He says, I think the trade actually helps all parties, Breece, Raj, and Wilson. I was kind of touching on that earlier in this video. I think Wilson will get open more. I think Rodgers has more opportunities to throw to somebody who knows how he plays. I also think this benefits Allen Lazard. I think either Wilson or Lazard will be going into the slot, and it's going to benefit both of those guys. But I still think production will either be the same or go down just a little bit because there's a lot more mouths to feed now. But we'll see, man. It's going to take some adjusting. I don't think week 1 is going to be the best time to analyze it. They still need a few weeks. But Carchizzle also says, would you drop Braylon Allen or Ray Davis? Yeah, I would. He says, I have Breece Hall. That's a tricky one because of the handcuff, You always want the handcuff because you know that Braylon Allen is going to do well. But Ray Davis, man, I mean, he went off as soon as he got the ball. The only thing is that Cook is going to come back healthy. I know he is next week. So I don't think Ray Davis will be a factor. But who do I think is more likely to get hurt? I think James Cook is. So I'm going to go with Ray Davis. I don't think Breece Hall will get hurt this year. Knock on wood for you. Right there. Hopefully you heard it. But I would drop Braylon Allen for Ray Davis. That's just me. But Dizzle says different. He says different. He's a Jets fan this year because he put a bet on him. So believe who you want to believe. I think Ray Davis has more of a chance to play. And get more points. Brazil, what's up, man? I like that name too. There's so many good names today. I really do like it. It says trying to do Bijan for Jacobs and Cooper. Bijan, I don't think I'm opposed on this. Let me make sure to see that Bijan is getting, the 15-20 that I'm expecting him. He's not. But neither is Jacobs. I know Jacobs is not because they're not using him to his full capacity. So I think this is like a lateral move. The only thing is that you get Cooper. So I think this is benefits you in my opinion. I do know that the Falcons have some pretty tough games going into the later part of their season. So coming around, my bad. Coming around the playoff time, I do think that Josh Jacobs has a tougher schedule. So again, this is you playing for, of course, getting to playoffs, but also you winning the playoffs and getting to the championship. I think keeping Bijan is better for playoffs, but I think getting Cooper and Jacobs will benefit you getting into the playoffs for sure. So let me know what your full roster is, and I'll tell you my updated yes or no on this trade. But Dizzle says, I'm going no kicker this week, not dropping Aubrey, and team is stacked, not dropping anybody. I'm actually doing that as well in one league because I have Aubrey as well, and I don't want to drop anybody that I have. So we're in the same boat, buddy. And I still think I'm going to win because I think I'm projected right now to win by like 20. But the guy still has one more player to put in, so it'll be more like, I think it's like 12 is what I'll be projected to win by. Not that projections matter, anyways. But Sal Sarita says we have 100. Oh, yeah, I read that already. Benjamin, what's up, Ben? It says, should I drop either Lad McConkey or Jamison Williams for Jacoby Myers? Yeah, that's true, man. Jacoby, his stock is going to rise pretty dang high. I think I'm going to drop. Lad McConkey is the guy that's more consistent, but it's not a great consistent, And then Jamison Williams is that up and down guy. So he's just boomer bust. I think I'm going to keep Jamison Williams, though. He's on an offense that's high firepower, and they seem to be wanting to use him in the second year more often than not. I just think that Lad McConkey is not in a great situation. So I'm going to drop Lad McConkey for Jacoby Myers, assuming that Jason Myers and Brock Bowers are going to benefit off of Devontae Adams leaving. We'll see, though. They're both on bad teams, Lad McConkey and Myers. I think if Myers is doing bad, I think McConkey will be there anyway. So I don't think too many people are going to want to pick him up the way he's so inconsistently playing. Dizzle says Sean Tucker isn't worth $1. Yeah, man. But in a dynasty league, I think always having the possibility of some guys that can pop off like that is a positive thing. So again, my high end is 10. I would go 5. But if you really, really want him and you just feel like you need him, go 10. But yeah, that's the highest I would go. With Sean Tucker getting massive volume. Might be a messy backfield. Maybe they did that to attract trade value for him. Possibly. You never know. But he did go off. I mean, Bucky Irvin had 63 to 67% of the carries. And of course, Sean Tucker had the other 30 to 40, but 38. So again, I don't know, man. I don't know. I still think it's worth it spending fab on him, but it's also, if you don't get him, you're not going to shoot yourself in the foot there. So what's up, Bob dude? He says, I need to trade for a better running back and QB. Baker, running back. Oh, Baker's your starter. He says, you need to trade for a better running back. His quarterback is Baker. His running back is Brown. Montgomery. Love Montgomery right now. Wide receiver. Oh, Godwin, man. Godwin is crazy. And St. Brown. Jeez. I don't know how you guys are doing this, but I could see it in the draft because Godwin went a lot later. But yeah, I wish I did that. Tight end is Kelsey. Not bad. He's getting back to form, especially now that Rashee Rice is out. Flex is Amari Cooper. Not bad. Bench is Irving. Gibbs. Yeah. Tank Bigsby. Yeah, that's throwing me off so much. I've been on here for 2 hours and 20 minutes, so my brain is getting mushy. But yeah, Tank Bixby, Bucky Irving, Pat Mahomes, Swift, Shaheed. What bundle should I do? If you're trying to get a better running back, in my opinion, I've been talking about mixing all day. Since you already have David Montgomery, I think the only other guy to go after would be like somebody like Canine. In my opinion, that's my biased opinion. But if you're trying to go after a home run type guy, I might for sure go after Mixon. I might go after Josh Jacobs. I do think that he'll start to receive some upside. If you don't want to spend the big bucks on anybody big like that and you just want a consistent guy, try to get Tony Pollard. I think you could get him for close to nothing. You could probably trade away like Bucky Irving or Tank Bigsby with like Shaheed. I don't know how valuable those guys are to you at this point in time, but I think you could get somebody without even giving away a good running back. So Tony Pollard, in my opinion, maybe Ramondre Stevenson if people feel like he's not going to be great. But a sneaky one is DeAndre Swift. I talked about it earlier in the season about people dropping him too early. I picked him up as soon as people did, and now look at him. He's averaging 24 points a week the past 3 weeks. Silva says, but Jacoby didn't do anything when Devontae was out. I gave up and dropped him for Ty Chandler last night. Yeah, but he's still getting production. So depending on where you're going to use him, if you need somebody that's going to win you your league, Jacoby's not it. But if you need someone to just come in there and kind of hold it down when some of you guys have bye weeks, I think Jacoby getting double-digit points is pretty good. I mean, the last 3 weeks he's had 21, 9, and 13. So, in my opinion, they did everybody on the Las Vegas Raiders did horrible against Cleveland, no matter who it was. But he does have a tough matchup coming up against Pittsburgh, an easier matchup against the Rams, tough matchup against Kansas City, and then an easy matchup against Cincinnati before their bye week. So, if you need him at any point in time there, I think he's going to give you double-digit points. So. But Brazil says, well, I'm 1-5, 14 man, full PPR. Says my roster is Kyler Murray, Zay Flowers, Devontae Smith, Bijan Mixon. Oh man, you got Mixon. I love it. Ferg, Tank Bixby, Flex, and in the flex, nice. And he says bench is Olave, injury. Leggett, not doing too bad, but still inconsistent. Juju, not an upside. Blake, is that who's that? Blake? Who is Blake? Tell me who Block A is. I'm gonna search some people named Blake. I have no idea who that is. But yeah, let me know who Blake is. Block A. But in my opinion, man, this is tough. So let me go back to your other comment. She says, should he do Bijan for Jacobs and Cooper? I think this benefits you to give away Bijan because you have Mixon and you're going to get Jacobs. So it's like a lateral move for Bijan to Jacobs almost. I think Jacobs is getting a little bit less, but I think he has more upside to get more carries, more touches as the season goes along. So in my opinion, I don't mind this. You getting Cooper, he could be your flex guy as well, since Olave and Leggett are not doing the best at this point in time consistently, especially with injuries and all that stuff. But yeah, it also gives you some wiggle room, especially when you don't believe in Flowers that week. Even though he should be pretty consistent the rest of the season. But yeah, in my opinion, I think you take that. If you can get Bijan and flip it for Jacobs and Cooper, who Cooper is having a lot of upside now, I think it's pretty good. Oh, Blake Corum, my bad. Yeah, dude, honestly, I haven't heard Blake Corum's name in like a century, basically since the draft, because Blake Corum has not played at all, even when Kyron Williams is out, basically. But Marlon says, hey guys, should I try to trade Godwin and Brian Thomas for London and Amari Cooper? No, keep Godwin. Don't ever trade Godwin away. Not unless you're getting 2 top 10 wide receivers. London and Amari Cooper are not going to be top 10 wide receivers. So, no. Do not do that. Don't fall for it. But all right, guys, I've kind of caught up here. So, Let me know if you have any last second comments here. I've been on here for 2 hours and 25 minutes. I think I'm going to call it a night in about 5 minutes for sure. So if you have any last comments, any trades, any fantasy related questions, let me know. I'm going to get a sip of water here. 6 of y'all are still in here, including some other people on Facebook. So put your comments down. Let me know what you need. I'm here for the next 5 minutes at least. Be quiet, Dizzle. London is a stud, but he's not a top 10 stud. So, yeah. He won't be top 10 for the entire season. I know he's great, but I just don't see it. Godwin is two times as better as Drake London, so I would not give up Godwin. So let me just go to the averages here. Basically, Chris Godwin's the number 1 guy, number 6 in the league. I mean, in my opinion, on my quick math here, I think Godwin is getting about 24 to 23 points a game. I mean, the averages for Drake London. I'll take out his bad first week, which was 3 points. I think his average here is about 17 to 18. So, and that's with taking out his bad first week, which is 3 points. Godwin, again, I still think he's way better. I still think if you're getting London and Amari Cooper for Godwin and Brian Thomas, Brian Thomas is also doing good. So he's not doing good every single week, but when he does, he gets about 20 points. So I think you're just giving up too many points right there for not a big enough swing. Dizzle says, pissed that I passed on him a lot. Yeah, I mean, it's always a risk because the Falcons could have just been horrible like they had been, and London was not a factor last year. But now he is. So, it's hard to say it, but sometimes you just can't predict them all. But Brazil says, being at the bottom of the standings, I get high priority waivers, wondering if I should pick up Sean Tucker, Ray Davis, or Isaac Guerendo. You have 2 open slots. For sure. I mean, if I were to rank them, I would put Ray Davis before any of those guys. And then I'm also possibly going to go Isaac Guerendo just because we don't know. We just do not know if Mason is for sure going to be a go. We can always infer based on what they tell us, basically, on fantasy. But he was at practice on Monday, so maybe I changed that. But yeah. I'm going Ray Davis for sure. K Dizzle says, actually, can pick up a kicker dropping Polk. Yeah, I would drop Polk, to be honest. He's not that much. He says, Vince, what's your IG? I think it's Vince the Prince. Let me get my phone over here. There we are. Boom, 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 boom. Let me see. My IG for you guys that want to follow me. Yeah, my handle is Vince the Prince 5. So if you want to follow me, go ahead and follow me. I'll follow you back. As long as you're not a weirdo, Dizzle, which you are. Dizzle says, I think Wilson will get less targets, but going to be so efficient. Yeah, I think he's going to catch the ball more efficiently. I said that earlier in the video as well. If you want to go, what's it called? Get my word for word. But I said that he's going to get less targets, but he will be more efficient because, again, he could be on the slot or he could be the wide receiver too. So less wider or cornerback ones on him, more linebacker safety type stuff. But Brazil says, would it be crazy to pick up Drake May and start him over Murray? No, dude. I told somebody else earlier today who gave me like 4 options. I think it was Kyler Murray, Trevor Lawrence, and Sam Darnold, I think, as well. And then he said Drake May. And I said Drake May because Drake May has the Jags. He's going to go off against the Jags. He played well this past week with a tougher matchup, so I think he'll be great. He says, sent, just restarted IG yesterday. Oh, nice. It's always good to get a cleanse off of Instagram and all those other places. But yeah, I think I just got it. Let me see. Are you David Hoover? That's so funny. Let me know if that's you. If not, There you go. Never mind. That was the wrong person. But yeah, Kevin Valentine. Like it. I'm gonna follow you back just for the memes. See what this was all about. Let's see. Brazil says, okay, getting more crazier. How about Drake May over Murray for rest of the season? Oh, that one's a little crazier for me. I still think Kyler Murray has great upside the rest of the season, just not this game. Going against the Packers this past week was not good for him. Going against the Chargers defense this week is not good for him. But going against Miami in week 8, I think he'll do better than he has been. So getting around in that 25-point area. And then Chicago is going to be another hard game. New York Giants is going to be a hard game. In my opinion, hopefully Seattle is a hard game after the bye week. And Minnesota, Seattle again. Okay, well, maybe you're making a name for yourself here, Frizzle. Maybe Drake May rest of the season. Let me see his matchups. Because Kyler Murray has some pretty tough matchups, to be honest. Let's see, Jacksonville, Jets, Tennessee, Chicago, Rams, Miami, Indianapolis, Arizona, Buffalo. Okay, maybe Drake May rest of the season. You know what? I'm about to go look at him in some leagues. He might be a guy you want to start. Dizzle says, who the F is David Hoover? I don't know, bro. He was some guy that popped up right before yours did. So, but yeah. But all right, guys, I'm going to give you all about 30 seconds. If you have any other comments to put down, go ahead and put them down because I'm going to be taking off in a little bit. I feel like I've given y'all enough advice. But Kobe Obi, what's up, man? If this is your first time, hit the subscribe button. If not, thank you for coming back. It says, with Evan Ingram coming back, how will you think it will affect Brian Thomas Jr.? We saw it this past game. I mean, he didn't get as many targets as we wanted, but he did score a decent amount of points. 5.7 is not the best, but he didn't get a touchdown like he usually does. So I think it will affect him a little bit. But Evans again, or Ingram, sorry, Evan Ingram, he could be somebody that just cannot stay healthy. So we saw how long it took him to get back. Again, he got great amount of points of his first game, 10 for 10, 102 yards, amazing. But Brian Thomas Jr. is always that big play type of guy. He was not playing that big type of play guy these past few games, or this past game with Ingram. So he's going to revert back to his big pass play type guy. But now that Ingram's there, yes, his production will go down. So he drops down to like a flex guy for me. But I still think he's going to be serviceable. Dizzle says, have a good night. Going to be a zombie tomorrow too. Yeah, me too, man. But Juan Pena also says, just traded Josh Jacobs and Tank Dill for Justin Jefferson. I still got Kyron, Kenneth Walker, and Brees Hall. Yeah, awesome, my guy. That is a great move. Jesse Winchester. Wow. I love the last name, just like the guns. But if this is your first time, go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you're feeling generous too. We're on our way to 1,000 subscribers. And as we get there, we're going to be giving away some giveaways. So don't tell anybody, but we're going to have giveaways. But he says, hey, man, I have a lot of depth at wide receiver and wanted to know if you like Amari to trade for. Yeah, if you have a lot of depth, I don't think you should be scared to take a shot. You always want to get better somehow. So Amari moving to the Bills possibly could be that outlet. So try it out. He says, was that a fair trade? I think so, to be honest. Josh Jacobs is averaging around 12 points. Tank Dell on his best week has a pretty good week, but you got to remember that Nico Collins will come back eventually. So Tank Dell later in the rest of the season will not be as good. Justin Jefferson will be good all year long. So I think it's great, man. And you have the running backs to help you hold it down, so you're good. But for Zil says, how do you feel about KC defense for the rest of the season? I'm dropping Houston defense for them. I definitely think they're better than Houston defense, so I think that's a better move. Try it. They keep games close too. So this says, last comment, how does this trade look now? Says moved Mondre and Olave for Bucky and Tay. Dude, you won. Yeah, for sure. But yeah, it looks great. Kobe Obi says, and last question, if you can answer it. If it's not, it's okay. I got you, man. I answer every single question. I just want you to get your question in within the next 30 seconds so I can answer it. It says, Devontae Adams getting traded. How would it affect the productivity of Jacoby Myers? I think his productivity goes up. A lot of people are skeptical because he didn't really do too much when Devontae Adams was out with injury. But now that the focus goes out of the way with Devontae Adams out of the picture entirely, Brock Bowers, Jacoby Myers are the only guys that are going to get stuff. Of course, Madison could be getting some reps there basically for pass catching, but this team cannot just dunk it down every single time. They need some guys like Jacoby Myers to get some slants, to get some out routes. So I think his production goes up. Let's see. Sorry, guys. My throat's getting scratchy. Jesse Winchester also says, I'm the highest scoring team, have Godwin, Cup, London, Olave, Addison, Shaheed, and I'm ready to move at least one of my Saints, and Amari is on the 10th place team. I'll sub her in. Awesome. Thank you, man. Yeah, in my opinion, try to bundle up. If you can get Shaheed, trade away Shaheed for Amari, do it. If you can get, honestly, trade both of them, bro. Trade Olave and Shaheed. F it. Saints are going down the toilet hole unless you have Kamara. Olave and Shaheed, just trade them. Trade them both for Amari. You have Godwin, Cup, London, and Addison to hold it down. You want the guys who are on great teams. Godwin is on a great team. Cup is not, but that's because him and Puka are out. Once him and Puka come back, they are a great team. London is on a great team. Olave is not. Addison is on a great team. Shaheed is not. So get rid of the guys who are not on great teams. Get a guy who is on a great team. That's Amari. Try to bundle those guys up. Say, hey, you need the help. Here you go. But if anything, if you want to trade somebody else beside and keep one of those guys, maybe Olave because he might have better upside, go ahead and trade, in my opinion, Jordan Addison. He's too up and down for me. And of course, it's his first year, so they're still trying to use him and utilize him as best as they can. Let's see. Juju or Bigsby this week. Let me see. I know for sure that Juju's going against the Niners. It's going to be tough. Tank Bigsby is also going against the New England Patriots in London. So, in my opinion, I don't think he's going to do great. He's still not getting the majority of the carries that I want him to. I still think best bet here is Juju. They're going to use him. They need to. Travis Kelce's going to be locked up. I think Juju gets less of the lockups for the 49ers there. So, I think I'm going Juju. Sorry, guys. Throat's getting pretty bad. But full PPR, would you trade Amon for Debo and Reed? I think I'm holding on to Amon-Ra. They have a great team. I think that Amon-Ra is going to continue to be doing Amon-Ra things. So I think I'm going to keep him. Of course, this past week he didn't get what you wanted. But I don't think Debo is going to have the same game every single week that he had against the Seahawks. So, I mean, it's not a bad trade, to be honest. You get 2 for 1, and Reed is pretty good as well. F it. Do it, man. Do it. Take the risk if you can. This is your roster here. Sorry. It says CJ Stroud, HN, Chase Brown, James Conner, Eckler. Oh, you got Nico too? Yeah, do it, bro. Do it. You could have a trifecta there. And then Mooney and Addison back it up. I like it. Trade it. Hit that trade button right now. Oh man, it's crazy. Throat's so dry right now. But let's see. Kobe Obi says solid response. Explain with explanation and detail. Thank you. Definitely subscribing for future lives and videos. Yeah, man, it's not just me on this podcast too. I have my co-host as well with AJ and Reed. Me and AJ are the fantasy guys. Reed is not too much into fantasy, but me and AJ, he's on TikTok right now under the same name, NSP Football Talk. If you want some more in-depth stuff, I believe AJ gives more in-depth stuff than I do. He does a little bit more research than I do, but I also do mine. So we both give as best explanations as we can, and we give our opinion on what we would do. So always truthful. Dizzle says trade them. Equineme and St. Brown is Saints wide receiver 1. Yeah, bro, it's crazy. I mean, they don't have anybody behind them, so it's gonna be pretty bad. Let me get some water real fast, boys. Hopefully that helps a little bit, but throat's so scratchy. But Frizzle says, would you do Flowers and Smith for Adams? I think that's too much, way too much. Smith is getting like 15, 20. Flowers is getting 20 the past 2 weeks. Adams, we don't know exactly what he's going to get with the Jets. It's too early to tell. But yeah, too much. Jesse says, thanks, man. No, thank you, man. Come back every Tuesday. We have fantasy football Q&A here, and as well on TikTok too. If you want my other co-host AJ, he's on TikTok, but he's answering so many people. I mean, he's been consistently live with 70 to 80 all day, and he's been on 2 hours and 40 minutes just as I have. So yeah, we're trying our best to give everybody the fantasy advice that they need. Again, what's up? I don't know. JP says, yo, what's up again? Couldn't get my trade for Kyron done from earlier, so ended up selling for Kenneth Walker. And T, not bad. Kenneth Walker has great upside. I just hope he can stay healthy long term. And then T Higgins has been doing phenomenal. 15, 20 points a week. I'll take it, especially for JT with his injuries. I mean, hopefully he can stay healthy for other people. But yeah, I think you have the better side here. This is my parents, y'all. What's up? Andrew Burwell, he says, back again from an hour ago. Do I start Kareem Hunt or T. Higgins? I'm going, oh, that's a hard one, to be honest. Kareem Hunt, he's going to have a hard time running against the 49ers, in my opinion. So I think safe bet here is T. T. Higgins going against the Browns, I think they'll be fine. So give T the start. He says, I don't know, JP, but it's going to get vetoed most likely. Yeah, that's the only thing I hate, man. You can make as good of trades as you can, but it's up to the league. But shoot it, man. You never know. It says, happy Mixon is back. Hopefully now I can make playoff run. 1-5 comeback. Let's go Mixon carry me. For sure, bro. I'm hoping the same thing. I have one league. Let me see if I can pull it up really fast as I close some of these other windows. I have one league where I have, let me see if I can find it. I have Kamara, Montgomery, and I have Mixon in the flex. So pretty crazy. I love my running back trio there. And then I have Dowdle out there as the backup. So yeah, I love that league. That's the league I'm 6-0 in. So just waiting for him to come back to, kill it. My running backs get me 60 to 70 points a game, and we have a double flex in that league. So shows you getting a lot of points. Frazil says, thanks for your help. I appreciate it. Thank you, man. Come back. I love all y'all's comments. So can't wait to have you back here. But my throat's better too. But Kobe Obi says 2 trades. Trade Kincaid for Jacoby Myers. It's not bad. You have Kelsey, so yeah, I think I might do it. But again, you could always probably get a little bit better. But he just texted me. Sorry, I just responded to him. He says he's tired. I'm tired too. I'm gonna get off soon. That's probably the last comment. So if you can send something within the next 10 seconds, I'm gonna get off after that. But he says I have Kelsey and traded Chubb and Keenan Allen to get Brian Thomas Jr. Not bad, man. Chubb is coming back. Hopefully he doesn't do too well. I don't think he will with that offense being the way it is. Keenan Allen as well. There's too much mouths to feed there. He does well randomly, but again, he's just going to be that up and down guy. I think BTJ, Brian Thomas Jr. will be better. So not bad. I do like the guys that you're getting. They're upside guys, so they're going to get you a lot of points. Should I trade Devontae Smith and Dowdle for Cooper and Bigsby? No. I like Devontae Smith way too much. I think you have to wait a little bit to see what Cooper will be. It might benefit you because he might not be all that in a bag of chips that like you want him to be. But it could also not benefit you where you have to trade a little bit more. But I think here you're trading a little bit too much for Tank and Cooper. I think Devontae Smith and Dowdle have the better upside and consistency for me. So I'd wait a little bit. Andre Silva, my QBs are Caleb and AR5. He's going to package one of them would be TG or Higgins. What QB should I look for? The best QB, to be honest. But before you do that, man, try to see if Drake May is on the waiver wire. I know it sounds weird, but trust me. If you want to trust me. I think he's a great start. If not, go ahead and get some guys that are young. Bo Nix is not doing too bad either. Give him a shot before you try to trade some good pieces. But if you have a great team and you can trade those pieces away, of course, you want to go after the top guys. You want to go after Lamar Jackson, Jalen, Josh Allen, Jaden Daniels, like all those guys who are doing just phenomenal week to week. You want consistency and good points. So shoot for the stars, man. I mean, you could get possibly anybody for trading those guys. But Caleb Williams is also doing not too bad, man. So maybe hold on to him. I think he's had great games the past 2 weeks. If anything, trade Anthony Richardson and somebody else to get another good backup. So just my opinion there. But all right, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and head out after this last comment. He says my wide receivers are Lamb, Cup, DK, T Higgins. Oh yeah, you got a plethora of guys, especially when Cup comes back. That's not bad. Yeah, I'd probably go Brian Thomas Jr. If anything. I would keep Judy. I think he does have some upside with Amari Cooper leaving. So, but yeah, awesome, man. But yeah, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and head out. My throat is killing me. Don't want to be sounding like a sick puppy out here all day. But yeah, thank you guys for coming in. Hit that subscribe button if you hadn't already. Hit the like button. And of course, I will be back next Tuesday. So hit that bell next to the subscription. And so you guys get notified whenever I come back, hopefully with a better non-itchy throat right now. But Kobe Obi says, rest to your throat, G. Appreciate ya. Yeah, I'm about to go throw one of those halls in my mouth right now. But last one, Mad Max. Yo, would you send Chase Brown for Cooper? I think I would. Just depends on your roster. But like I said, man, I'm taking off right now. So go ahead and join our Discord down below. He says he has Mason, CMC, Chubb, and Tracy, and Kyron. Oh, dude, yeah, do it. But yeah, join the Discord down below if you haven't, guys. We talk football there all day. So when we're not live on Tuesdays for fantasy, you guys can talk fantasy all week with us, and we'll answer your questions as quickly as possible. Again, it's me, AJ, and Reed. So we'll be there for y'all. If one of us can't make it, somebody else will. So, and then our fans are great. They will give us the same advice that we would give you. So they've learned from us pretty well. So you guys will too. But all right, guys, thank you. Good night and have a great Tuesday. Hopefully you get your waiver wires tomorrow at 3 a.m. or 2 a.m. for you, wherever you live at. But all right, guys, thanks. And as we always say here, keep on grinding.